Hello everyone! Welcome back to TRI's Top 100 Crypto Review. Still thinking about what our intro here is for this show. I guess this is episode 7 now, so we're marching along. If anything, what I really wanted was to get a nice database of sort of like the top crypto names. And actually might be really cool as soon as Yearn gets this crypto index kind of reporting in real time, and we have this actually all vetted out, maybe we'll have like those top 100 as sort of our crypto top index. Something to think about. We'll say crypto's crypto top 30 breadth kind of looking a little heavy here, and I think the rest of the crypto market, I think, was actually leading a little bit lower as well. So the big boys were hanging in there, but it's a tough slog for crypto right now. I will say that. So if anything, I do like the idea that while the market is trying to find its footing, we're trying to find value again, trying to put in W's and locations and divergences. Maybe we take advantage of this time and, really get to know this space and who are the leaders and how has this space evolved. I can clearly see as we're going through the list, a year or two ago, maybe even a few years ago, it was like all like stablecoins were like all the top names. And there were a few leaders from that bygone era, it seems, that are not even on the leaderboard anymore. They've literally just vanished. If anything, I think this is an excellent exercise to go through this sort of current look of crypto, and of course we're seeing a lot of sort of DeFi kind of related names, which is interesting. But also too, I think actually this is a great opportunity to get to know maybe the next generation of crypto participants. And as a guy who's kind of a gnarly old timer now, I've actually worked with I'd say about 3 different generations of crypto enthusiasts, and so it's actually really pleasing and quite refreshing to get to know this latest batch of crypto enthusiasts. And I've got 3 gentlemen here in this TRI's Top 100 Crypto Review that actually I'm really pleased to see how this has developed. So we are back again for another couple hours of crypto review chat. Really want to just give you our opinions, and really I don't think any of us would bill ourselves as crypto experts. We're all just trying to make head or tail of this space, and in a very amateur way, trying to figure out how we can risk our money most effectively, looking to try and make a capital gain or two. So, gentlemen, welcome back to the frivolity. I don't know, do we want to say hello in unison or go down the list? I don't know how this should work. Nick, you're up top. It seems you always join up top first. How you doing this evening, Nick?
I'm good. I was a little tired after work, but I got jazzed up for this, so we're all good.
Okay, that's encouraging. If I'm not mistaken, we are building almost like it seems like a satellite contingency contingent down there in the great state of New Mexico, and our daily brief producer, director, chief bottle washer, basically does everything around the site. Kevin got together with you for a couple refreshments recently, didn't you?
Yeah, last Friday we went to a brewery kind of in the middle of where we both live, and yeah, had some fun, chatted for a couple hours.
Right on. So I love that. I love that about TRI. Like when we have our meetups, we're all sort of like-minded people. Get together, enjoy a few refreshments and some lighthearted humor. And if anything, I've often encouraged people to really try and take advantage of the time. And if you're in the school program, to really make bonds with your various student body, fellow students. They make sense. Like we have one group over in the UK. They were in one of the initial education programs, I think back in like 2015, 16. And they still get together and trade together, and that touches my heart. I love that. So anyway, great to hear that Nick and Kevin got together. I thought that was totally cool. Next on the hit list, we've got Derek coming in from, where are you? The great state of South Carolina?
Maryland.
Maryland. Why did I say
Yeah.
South Carolina? Because you went to Hilton Head or something, didn't you, recently?
Oh yeah, we went down to Nags Head, yep, for a vacation. Yeah.
Ah, okay. So that I must have that on my brain. All right. Anyway, how are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well, doing well.
Good, good. Did notice you chatting on the site under your pseudonym, I guess Deborn, is it? And what were you going on about the other day? You caught my attention the other day. What were you talking about? I can't remember what that was.
Oh, I know there. I was saying there was a relationship between Coinbase was doing something. They're involved with it was a stable coin. Oh, USDC, Coinbase. There's some sort of linkage there with.
Is that what we were going on about? I suppose that's with Goldman, right? So I suppose
Yeah,
Goldman was probably the lead underwriter for Coinbase. Coinbase, of course, probably endorses USDC, right? That's what, and of course
They do, yeah.
And that came out of the Polo acquisition, right? Because wasn't the company called Circle that Goldman created?
So then USDC, I think, they're doing like a SPAC. Yep, that's what it was. It was a SPAC news about USDC.
There you go.
Of course, yeah. So there's that whole sort of relationship there.
Yeah,
I'm curious if they were trying to take stable coins. I don't know, legitimized stable coins.
Well, and it's interesting because I heard Powell even today say that in the middle of September, the U.S. Federal Reserve is going to drop the crypto stablecoin A-bomb. So it's coming. He explicitly said that, and ironically enough, he even said that he didn't really care too much about cryptocurrencies, but what had to be addressed right away was this stablecoin issue. So my hunch is, for whatever it's worth, it's just one guy's opinion. I believe that Tether better make friends with the U.S. government very quickly, or they could be in a bit of trouble coming up here. And of course, Circle, being part of Goldman Sachs, isn't that technically the U.S. government? I mean, you're all Americans, so you tell me.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say anytime you would go to war to protect the dollar, then you definitely won't let just some digital dollar come in and do whatever it wants to do. So
yeah. It feels, and I would argue that Coinbase is on the inside of this whole equation now. Interesting how they're going the SPAC route, eh? Because I want to get in on that Backed. Backed is also doing a SPAC too, aren't they? So, all right. If anything, this makes a lot of sense because to a guy like me, an old timer, mass adoption is the equity market coming in and taking equity stakes in these ventures, i.e., ownership stakes in these ventures. I actually took advantage of the Coinbase dump to get long. So I did buy some of that. I want to get all over that Backed SPAC. I wouldn't mind getting all over this Circle SPAC. And I'm sure there's probably a bunch more that are coming down the pike here. Also, too, I'm long a bunch of things like hut mining. The one, Mara, of course, that was a fun treat. I think I got about 8 doubles off on that thing. The one stock that I let slip through my finger, which I'm really pissed off at, is Novogratz. I was fucking long his stock from under $1, and I let the damn thing slip through my fingers like a doofus. So that's the only regret I have about this entire crypto rally was I missed him. But oh well, shit happens. Okay, so we're here actually to talk coins, not stock. And actually it's interesting to see, as we're transitioning into this growth cycle. Oh my goodness, the stock market. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. I actually have a challenge on the site. About 5 years ago, I took $500 in the crypto space and I turned it into $500,000 or whatever the hell it was. So we're going to do the same challenge in the stock market. A cohort of mine here locally in Vancouver, I want to make his day. So the goal is to take 5 G's and we're going to make him a millionaire. So that's our fun adventure in the stock market. And ironically enough, we'll probably be using a lot of crypto stocks to get him there. But let's go take a look at some cryptocurrencies and learn a little bit more about the evolution of the space. And also, too, I suppose we should check in on how our forecasting model is going here. So let's see. As of last meeting, Mr. Beamish was, I guess, slightly cautious. Mr. Nick, what the hell do we call your last name? I've never said your last name. Shish? Is that it?
It's Shish, yeah.
Shish. Oh, that's cool. Interesting. All right, so you were slightly negative. Derek was neutral, and Ben was neutral. So we're kind of leaning sort of not overly excited. So how did we do on the week? I guess we probably ought to gauge this in a percentage. We lost about $400. Does that look about right?
Yeah, so it's just over 1%, I guess. So pretty neutral.
Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad. All right, I guess we'll get... And actually, maybe we should even judge greater than 1% change. Mind you, Bitcoin's so volatile. Might be interesting to see what, like, sort of historical volatility is. But anyway, we'll give this week to Derek. Was Derek the most neutral of all of us? Would we call that neutral? Not quite sure. Oh, actually, well, you know, Ben was neutral too, weren't you? Actually, I don't even think we've said hello to Ben yet. Ben, sneaking in there all quiet-like. Last but not least in our group, Ben, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Yeah.
Good, good. Are you from
yes,
the east?
Neutral.
Where are you from?
Am I from where?
So you're in Florida, aren't you?
In Florida, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of right near the Georgia line.
Oh, up top.
Yeah.
That was
up
tragic
top.
to hear about that condo down there, eh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I wonder that might see a catalyst like that might actually cause. I noticed that like one of our insurance companies, it was looking very, very bullish, and then that happened, and they operate down in the southeast. And
Right.
I got a funny feeling that insurance model just all of a sudden got very unprofitable. But that's here nor there. A lot of people lost their lives. That's not good. And, you know, like we have all these condos going up here in Vancouver. It scares the hell out of me. It's so dangerous. I mean, I don't know how old that building was, but I tell you, I've actually heard stories of, like, nightmare stories of construction crews, right, trying to rush through getting these complexes built. And some of the just nightmare stuff that you hear that they leave around in the buildings, and like half finished walls and shit. And, oh, don't touch that! That's a load bearing poster. Oh goodness. Anyway, okay. Ramble. Sorry about that, everybody. So long and short of it is, market was slightly lower, so neutral to slightly lower. I think was probably a half decent bet. Shall we leave bets for next week till the end of the show, or do we want to place our sentiment bet now? What do you think?
Might as well do it now. I feel like the end of the show, we kind of just sign off at the end. I don't know if we'd remember to do it. I'd probably forget to do it.
I get so talked out, I'm just like, and you guys are like, fucking just shut up.
I don't think that's how we are. But.
Okay, so let's see. So the great prognostication, Brian's going to say, let's see, and we're talking corn here, right? 33,125 is where, actually, geez, that chart looks uppy to me. I mean, that's a tough one. Jeez. That's great trade location. I do like the idea of a nice dip against here to freak the kids out, but I don't think this time next week. Oh, goodness, that's a tough one. Man, there's no sense in predicting here. I'm just going to simply say for a guy like me, there's the top end of the range, there's the bottom end of the range, and probably, really, I hate to say it, all the way down there. So that means that we're probably going to get, well, 11% move to the upside and probably about the same amount of percentage move to the downside. So what's that say? 12%. So we're basically sitting right at the mean. And I got to stick my neck in the noose. Which way do we have to go? I'm going to have to say, because we just put in these M's here, that until we stop Ming out market structure, I have to lean cautious again. It sucks. I want to, say, I know I'm a rip-roaring bull, but I'm going to have to stick with the same sort of slightly negative vote that I had last week. All right, Nick, what do you think?
I think it's 3 straight weeks of -1 for me.
Okay.
I'm gonna stay a little cautious. There's a little more room to go down than up in the range, so that's where I'm going.
All right, Derek, you're going to boldly stay exactly the same?
Yeah, I guess my meaning for that, or my purpose for that is, I would say, I don't know if anything, range bound towards the lower end of that range.
Mhm.
I mean, to me, cautious would be, yeah. I mean, I think we're gonna kind of just go sideways. Yeah.
All right. And Ben, bringing up the rear, you're going to stick with the same neutral vote?
Yeah.
Jeez, we're awfully bold market participants here, right?
Very vanilla.
All right, so and it's funny when I do this sort of daily videos, I say it's like we're all from Missouri, or at least I'm from Missouri. All right, so I want the market to show me its hand right now, and I don't know what it wants. So right now we'll have to just default to neutral to slightly cautious. All right, getting into the coins in particular, there is the list for tonight. I did hear you guys talking a little bit about, I know this one, I know that one. So maybe what we'll do tonight is, does somebody want to be the quarterback of the spreadsheet and then just sort of maybe direct me a little bit here? Who wants to go first? Where do we want to start? What's the plan?
Sure. I mean, I think we can still go in order, and we'll just kind of tag team off it. I think Derek is going to lead us off with the Theta Fuel token, T-Fuel.
All right.
Yeah. So this is, as Nick just mentioned, this is Theta Fuel. So it's the utility token that's on the Theta network, and it's essentially the gas for the network. You can also stake it. They have these things called edge nodes. So as a creator, you can stream on edge nodes. As somebody that's maybe not necessarily a creator, you can stake your Theta tokens and stake your T Fuel and earn more T Fuel. And you can also, so another thing that edge nodes can do is that whole, I think we mentioned it before, is the that at home folding type of computing. You can perform computing tasks on there as well and earn T Fuel.
Is this another one of these that really you're either in Korea and participating on this, or you're on Binance?
Oh yeah, so right now it's not available on the U.S. exchanges. It is one of those deals where you're on Binance. You have to or go through. There's some type of different swap sites you can get it on.
I see this KRW. I think that's the that Korean thing, isn't it?
The Korean won, yeah, their currency.
Upbit? Is Upbit a Korean exchange?
I would imagine so.
Yes, yeah.
And then South Korean won at Bithumb. So the problem here is that I have no interest in. I mean, I would like to participate with CZ. It's not really my style, but the government of my country is kind of saying no more over there. So I can't. I can comment on it if you want me to, and I don't know. You guys down in the States, are you allowed to even do anything over here? Is there? There's like a U.S. version of Binance, isn't there?
There is. It's really pared down though, so there's not a lot of pairs. I doubt T Fuel is on Binance.us.
Well, I mean, we can look at the chart. I can tell you right off the bat, of course, I never like to see when the market's smiling at me. So that's a bit bothersome when I see that. You can kind of see how the last time it kind of smiled out, how that had to play out, down. So it's not really like there's a huge reason for me to go out and just run out and get all excited about this. My hunch is there's an old expression in the market, wicks and tails like to be eaten. And you can kind of see how we had this wick up here. So in essence, that's what this action is here. That ate all that up. So this wick up here, this action here eats all that. This tail, you can see it. Well, not this one, but this one here was eaten here. So this tail here, all eaten. So my hunch is the market will need to play in this tail at some point. And conversely, if it gets ahead of steam behind it, I always say candle body highs are excellent trade location. So, that's probably an area of reference going forward, right? And you could probably even draw like a nice little trend line off of that peak there. Something like that. So counter trend rallies, this is going to take a bit of work to clean up. Pointing down in the short term, right? And probably as you were watching this head higher here, right? You could just simply say, give me, and actually this is kind of cool because you can see how the market basically W'd off of this level. You might even argue that the old trend, right, from this peak, show me, what do I want to see on the other side of a trend line here, Derek?
A W.
All right, so no W. Gee whiz, Brian, this thing's taken off. Are you sure? Yeah, just be patient. Wait for. Oh, okay. All right. So maybe it's pulling back. Is this the W? Oh no, just made. Oh my goodness, made another new low, and then lo and behold, look at what just happened here. And if you can't see the W, just change the chart to a line chart, and boom, look at that, eh? Beautiful. So, great little sort of model system saying, okay, well, it's not a half decent idea to think long, and sure enough, nice big rally. Also, great analogy, right? Look how the market slammed down right into trendline support, then backed away, then went up, then backed away, then broke through, then came rallying back up, and then, there's the M on the other side of the trend line. So, that's even like right in there. That's a nasty sell level. So she's heading down, kind of messing with sort of late shorters. Probably the place too short if you wanted to was up here. That's a tough trade. So there's support, there's resistance. It won't be a bull until we W on the other side of this trend line, wherever that is. That's gonna be a while. My hunch is, for whatever it's worth, this kind of looks like a big fractal. So you can go up, down, up, head. Whoops. Oh, fudge. Let's try that again. Up, down, up, and then at this point, we're going to find out, am I a bull? And we'll probably like W out and start working our way higher. Or am I a bear? In which case we probably M out and then really start to lose puke out trend line support down in there. So for the time being, I would say kind of caught in no man's land. We could rally all the way right back up top there. Could come all the way right down to support there. So that's pretty risky. And usually when I like to take trades, I like to have the odds kind of in my favor. Right now, if I bought or sold this, it would literally be a flip of the coin, whether it's going to go up or down here. Could do anything. So probably not something I'd want to do anything with right now. But, I suppose, again, too, this kind of like, what's the use case scenario? Why would I want to own this? I don't know. Did we get a reason why would we would want to be in this?
I mean, if you're on the creator, or I guess on the staking side of things, I mean, it has some value there. It also has value. I mean, in terms of like the bigger picture, in terms of like what Theta is doing, if you're interested in that, I guess that would be another sort of reason.
Yeah, you guys were all excited about Theta before, weren't you?
Probably me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I still feel like Theta is really far behind platforms like YouTube or Twitch, but I think they have the potential to compete with them in the future.
So another reason why I was sort of excited about Theta is that they have 5 patents. They just got awarded another patent for various things. Even in the NFT space, using NFTs for like the digital rights management and things like that. And they just came out with one from a security perspective that can be used as to protect against denial of service attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So and these are I don't know, U.S.-based patents or whatever. I don't know if they'll do them throughout the world or whatever. I don't know if that's necessary, but that's what has me, I guess, more excited about the project is the patented material that they have.
I will add, I was mainly saying that from like a user base and a streamer base perspective, not necessarily the tech. The tech is really good on Theta. I just feel like when you look at the number of people on Theta versus a YouTube or a Twitch, it just hasn't hit that critical mass yet that you really need to grow and be a monster in the industry yet. It can happen. It just, I haven't seen it yet.
Is Theta Network also kind of like almost like a layer 2 solution for YouTube? I think I remember reading somewhere that maybe like YouTube could leverage the peer-to-peer network. So it's not.
Yeah,
weren't we
talking about that recently? That
technically
these jerks are going to come along and steal all the decentralization crap, aren't they?
Right, but I guess the token holders, like, I mean, you generate tokens from that.
Yeah.
There's some incentives there.
And that's the funny thing about crypto. People are going to be like, oh, decentralized, liberating and stuff like that. But you know what's going to happen is the 1%, they're just going to concentrate ownership. And the worst part about this is, of course, this stuff's not regulated, right? I mean, you don't even know. It'd be really interesting to see how much of Bitcoin supply like Goldman Sachs actually owns right now. And I bet you they know exactly how much they own. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. All right, so technically speaking, kind of no man's landy, drifty. There's an interesting location down at about 15 cents, I guess, that I might be interested in. And fundamentally, at least I'm hearing like, well, I mean, it's got a story. I always like names that have stories. So what I'm gonna just simply say is like the story, meh. Location and no setups currently to consider entry. I'm gonna also say like in and around 15 cents. I think that's 15 cents, right? Something like that. See if I can get rid of some text here. Now setup to consider like in around. Is that 15? That should be 0.15. 0. Alright, so that's my 2 cents. Nick says, what's Nick say? Nick, no, that's not Nick. That's Derek. Where's Nick? Nick's so. Derek's first in line. Okay. Derek says, interested in potential FA. TA, looking a little sickly. Yeah, that's not a bad description. Nick says, like Theta, wouldn't buy T-Fuel. Might earn some someday.
I guess that was a little ambiguous. I mean, I do like Theta fundamentally, but I wouldn't buy T-Fuel itself. I would rather just earn T-Fuel by like potentially providing like streaming, like caching to
like if we did maybe sometime down the road, Derek, you're jazzed about this. Maybe, I don't know, do you feel like taking some initiative and creating a Theta channel for TRI? And let's throw this up here and let's funnel these T-Fuel coins your direction.
For sure, let's do it.
We could create a little community fund. And, I've asked people if you're interested, contribute to that ETH address so we can build something in Decentraland. But, if you want to do something on the Theta network and you can get some traction that, views actually translate into, like, I guess, coins. Is that how it works? Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe we got something to work with here.
Yeah, that's something to definitely look into. I think it has some potential.
All right. I think we just got it. We just made a deal. We're going into business. All right. So let's try and go earn some. Not someday. Next week.
Okay.
And now Ben says, wouldn't touch it with 10-foot pole. What do you got here? Would be interested with some better TA structure. Unable to buy this one. Yeah, and of course, I think we all need to acknowledge that we're not allowed to buy this thing, eh? So that's interesting. We're technically allowed to earn this. We could technically earn as much as we possibly want, right? We're just not allowed to
Yeah.
go into the marketplace and buy this stuff. Is that how this works?
Yeah, that is kind of weird. I don't understand it either. Yeah, I mean,
Maybe what they're really trying to say here is you're allowed to earn, but you're just not allowed to sell. Maybe that's what they're trying to say here. Who knows?
I mean, this was started by some YouTube guys, by I think somebody from Twitch, and so or at least their advisors. And so, like, I imagine it will make its way onto some U.S. exchanges eventually. So if you do end up earning some, I would just stake it to earn more of it over time, and eventually, when it does make those exchanges, that's when you can sell hopefully more of it. But
There you go. Sounds like sound. This is not financial advice.
correct. That's just what I would do if I were earning some and I was in the U.S. and I couldn't sell it. But yeah, to each their own. Do your own research.
So Geo over there is chatting away. What's he saying? I'm going to sacrifice to PulseChain. Also, Hex has been performing well. You have any idea what the PulseChain is? See, we actually have a very specific list of coins that we want to concentrate on here, Geo. So I love the fact that you're kind of asking us to get set off on a tangent. But I really want to get this list done. So if your coin happens to be in our little list here, then great, we'll look at it. But we really want to try and stay focused. And remember too, Brian talks way too much, so my apologies ahead of time. How are we doing on our timer here, Nick? Are we even anywhere?
We're good, perfect.
Close?
5 minutes and 2 seconds, if you believe me. I wouldn't, but
all right. That's New Mexican time, right?
Yeah. We're slower here.
Manana. Okay, smile, Derek. You're killing me, man. How do I make you smile? All right, EGLD. Where are we looking at this one? Another one that's, actually, this guy's all over the place. Finex, Binance, FTX, OKCoin. Oh, my goodness. It's even Binance US. Oh, this one's a legitimate one. There you go. So all our US customers, what do we got here? Tell me a story.
Elrond is another smart contract competitor to your Ethereums and all those. It got a lot of traction early this year. I remember right when I entered crypto, it was like $40 or something. Then it hit that first little upswing. It went all the way up above 200 in maybe a week or so.
Yeah.
I remember reading about that right when I started getting into crypto a few weeks after, but I don't know too much about what's being built on it. I do know it did get some traction early this year, but outside of that, it's just another one of those blockchains smart contract blockchains that hasn't really gotten huge public retail interest, but it has some good tech to it.
Sort of swept along in the inertia. No?
Yeah, I think it got like a news story or two, and it pumped a heck on that, and then as you can see, since then, in the beginning of February, it didn't really do much.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to this, Derek or Ben?
No, I don't know too much about this one.
Yeah, not really. Other than I tend to get the same feeling that it kind of got swept up, right time, right place. And I know they did like a they took it to EGLD. I think it was ENRD or something before that. It had a different ticker, and it went from like 1,000 of those to 1 e-gold, so it was like a much smaller supply.
So this was a coin that was like rolled back.
Yeah, I think that's.
This was that edges.
Yeah, I think it was ERD before, Ben.
Yeah,
ERD.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Interesting. I often wondered how they were going to handle this sort of consolidation. Like in the stock market, I love to hunt for stocks that have been rolled back. It's a great sort of way to identify really, beat up old investors, buying when they're crying, that kind of stuff. So actually, it's interesting, on the rollback, I bet you that was probably a no-brainer buy on this thing. Technically speaking, it reminds me of a lot of the broader market. We're no longer in the phase where I have to, and you probably remember this, like through this, right, kind of stuff, I have to kind of go, oh, Jesus, don't chase. I don't know what the end of this is going to look like, but often hearts are broken. And, if you don't listen to Brian, guys like Novogratz are saying the same sort of thing. So this is sort of that unwinding. What does that look like? Usually, and I've said this to you guys before, usually I've found that markets actually love to bottom off that 78.6. So the fact that this guy's actually a little bit above this level here, well, to me that actually looks a little suspicious. I don't know whether I actually really believe that this floor's in here. I suppose we, very much like this head and shoulders, and because it's on an angle like this, you don't have as much confidence, but it does look to a certain degree like this has been validated. And actually, I would even suggest the better way to do this is actually look at something like this on a log scale. And that high there now looks like that, and of course this is a little bit different, so bump that up to there. And along there. So there's your head to the neckline. And then, it's weird with these log charts. You have to eyeball this, and it's kind of a nuisance. But in essence, that was probably that move down into here. So I do think that technical objective has been validated. And very much like this head and shoulders, you might find that this turns into a head and shoulders. Like so. So, that is that kind of formation. That would imply that we probably want to take a serious dip against these lows. And, good old reload zones. That should come in somewhere right down in here. And actually, probably, see, there's off our mountain man level, there's a nice gap that needs filling in there. And you also see right down in here, there's also a gap that needs filling in right there. So if I was going to be hunting a level, probably that's the level I'd want to hunt. So you see that yellow line would correspond with that neckline, or that shoulder, beg your pardon. If we got a dip in there and then it turned back up, but that's asking a heck of a lot. So remember, kind of like what I said with the Bitcoin chart, if the market is making lower highs and lower lows, you kind of just got to go with that until it stops making those lower highs and lower lows. And I don't like the fact that we rallied right up against these highs and then failed. So there really isn't, you got this cute little W, and the whole space sort of put this W in. But now, if we get a trend line break of this low here, boobity boo there, and UEM out here, can you see this, the trade setting itself up? If we get a counter trend rally, everybody's going to be like, okay, that's it, and then we go, oof, right, and then, oh boy, we're in trouble. So we don't even have trend lines supporting us here anymore. This could get a bit dangerous. So until we actually have turned back up, and what I'd really like to see to believe that this thing really has turned is I really want to see a W. And the way that this kind of, it's not really a pretty neckline. David O would probably have a field day with me over this neckline. But the way that I see this neckline, I think actually it's probably like more up there. Yeah, we're going to really have to rock and roll. And the irony of it all is that this thing won't be a buy until we can get back above this line and actually W out over here. This is just a mess. Sorry, that's the easiest way to describe it. This is a mess. It needs a lot more technical work, and I would even imagine. Actually, here, let's just leave all that stuff on there. I would imagine that the momentum indicators here probably aren't too happy. So you can see we tried to div out, put in an M through here through momentum, broke out to the upside, so that's positive. It's not terrible. I just don't like I don't like the way this, especially the way you see the RSI and the moving average of the Willy sort of curling over here. Usually when we curl over on these, right, there's gonna have to be this period of when we curl over, you can notice there's this period of curl over, curl over. So you can see we just curled over. Does that mean we got to go through a right? You can almost feel that there's got to be, you really shouldn't get bullish on this thing until you start seeing these momentum oscillators start to W out. They just M'd out. So good thing, I suppose, if you are enthusiastic and you're bullish. The selling pressure is not that heavy, right? You can see it's pretty light in here. So, and that kind of makes sense because we've come a long way off of those highs. So, there's your top. Probably key trendline resistance. And what you don't want to see here is you don't want to see this thing rally up into here, make a higher high in price, but these momentum indicators don't make a higher high. That would be very dangerous. And that would portend to trouble down the road. But maybe this is sort of like our summer sort of silly season. I think that's the top end of your range. That's the bottom end of your range. We haven't M'd out here, so it's not like this is a rip-roaring bear short sell. So if anything, I would say probably like range bound. And frankly speaking, there's not really anything that would get me excited to the point where it's like, oh my god, I got to do the trade now. It just doesn't exist. Like what I really want to see is notice this kind of action here. See that? Where it comes down once, twice, 3 times. All right, we break through. All right, let's rock and roll. When you're on this side of the trend line over here, this is when you go, oh my god, there's tons of money to be made here. But we're just not anywhere near there on this kind of name, and a lot of these names that we see. So that would be sort of the technical picture I would have right now. All right, so they were a coin that was rolled back, and any sort of building a better mousetrap now, or just yet another potential DeFi name to watch for developments down the road?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think they've got some tech that is supposedly superior to things that ETH and other competitors have, but it just, until it gets that critical mass of users, it's just not going to kind of achieve its vision in my mind.
All right.
Yeah, it almost just feels like another competitor to Ethereum that doesn't really have any. I mean, based on what I'm looking at here, I don't, nothing's jumped out in terms of people actually using it. I mean, it seems a little bit more security focused. Mm-hmm. So they have proof of stake, but they're calling it secure proof of stake. They have they're going for the whole, we're faster than Ethereum deal, right? I think they're saying they're quoting on 15,000 transactions per second or something like that. And then, so I'm just wondering, like where is the value really coming from, or is it just more like hype? Like this is based on what they say they can do, what they're aiming for. Is that why this thing sort of took off like it did? Like, I'd be curious and probably digging in a little bit deeper. I mean, it sounds kind of interesting, but I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of them like this, and you look at ones like Solana who have already just taken off like a rocket, and they're getting a lot of the user base, the development. Like, it's tough for some of these other competitors to compete and get that once a few of the competitors already have.
Yeah.
Okay. And unfortunately, probably we're going to see a lot of this. The cute little W off of 78.6. If you're taking a shot off that's not a terrible idea. I don't think it's. I mean, what the hell? Actually, that's it. That actually was a double, right? Because those lows were $50, and that high there was almost 110. So that rally there, it didn't quite produce a double off of the W itself, but it's a pretty substantial rally. I'm gonna just simply say I think it's range bound for the time being. That's what I see here now. Probably I was wondering whether maybe the 50% rule lines up with that trend line. Yeah, well, even so. Actually, maybe it's just 38.2s. Yeah, okay, so yeah, it's just 38.2. So good old, because I've changed this to a log chart, eh? Oh, that's why. So yeah, this good old Ray Burchett. Really, really good example of Ray. So really, this thing, it won't resolve until 38.2 has been resolved here. And really what you'd like to see is show me some nice W's actions in there to get you all excited to the upside. So, all right. Technically, sort of meh. Still not totally, so I'm going to say TA meh. Why am I buying this? So, not interested, FA. What's the differentiator? Yeah, so that's sort of the same sort of thing. Interesting blockchain. Hope it gets traction. And then Ben says, FA, not super exciting. We'll wait for W on other side of trendline. Well, that's pretty prudent words of advice. Not that this is financial advice. Consult your financial consultant or investment advisor as to the appropriateness of any decisions made with your money. Okay, next on the hit list, ZEC, Zcash. Actually, this is one from previous generation that actually survived, eh? Man, I remember when these things came out. It was so funny. There was this one algorithm. I can't remember if it was this one or not, where one guy, his algo got away from him, and he paid like 3,000 Bitcoin for some. I mean, just the number was just staggering. It was just right off the roof. And his algo just, it just went absolutely haywire. It just kept buying and buying and buying and buying and buying. I can't remember if it was this one or not, but man, that was funny. And any of you guys remember that last cycle?
No, I think that was. I didn't recall that one.
Anybody on YouTube remembers which one it was? I can't remember which one it was. All right, so where should we look at this thing? ZEC. Wasn't this one of the anonymous coins?
Yeah, it's on that whole privacy coin.
Oh, might as well look at it. Binance and Tether, right? I mean, might as well, eh?
Yeah, but actually, I think it's available on some U.S. exchanges too. I know it's on Gemini, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean, other than kind of, I guess, having some privacy, I guess, background to it, there's not much you can do with it, right? It's almost like, it feels like if you're one of those people that kind of wants to, I guess, believes that you want to have some privacy on the blockchain, and you want to have a percentage of maybe your bag or whatever in privacy, and allocate some of your portfolio to something that you want to keep, I don't know, for the most part, private, then that's the only reason you own it. I mean, it's other than speculation. I mean, it doesn't really, I don't know where I mean, other than that, I guess you could use it as cash, but where is it accepted? It's like, what are you going to buy with it type of deal. So
yeah. I mean, it's a fantastic looking channel breakout, eh? The only problem is, I wonder whether maybe this was like an exit pump, because I'm not enthusiastic for anything that is not anything that's a stable coin that is not attached to Goldman Sachs and the U.S. government. I would be very, very careful of.
I mean, I will say that from a technology standpoint, as they develop new tech, other coins can leverage it. Yeah. I mean, so that's one maybe positive thing from that. I mean, I don't know how that affects price. It probably doesn't at all. But just in terms of maybe the positive impact of the project itself, right? That seemed like a good thing. But
so, and then the second thing that I'm very concerned about here is this whole anonymous angle of crypto. I think they're going to come down like a fucking ton of bricks on these people that are sort of flouting authority. That's old man Beamish talking, so take it for whatever it's worth. The reason why I think this is an exit pump is that on this event, as we are moving higher here, have you guys, actually, Nick, you might remember this. What have I said about OBV divergences? Are they significant?
I think I remember you thinking the volume divergences are better than momentum divergences.
They're very, very powerful. So this right here, and you don't see this every day, but this right here has got to be very troublesome. There's something really wrong. And this is what I mean by exit pump, is that I think somebody pumped it out, and then the insiders got out big time through these selling bars right here. Because you can see that is a clear divergence with the way price was moving to new highs here. That's a bad, bad sign. So it's like I said, somebody got out big time through here. All right, and of course the thing fell right off a cliff. So obviously somebody must have said something. Somebody must have sneezed. Somebody must have said, rug pull, whatever the hell the terminology is. And then, so OBV divs, don't like to see that. That's really bad. But then, oh, by the way, we also have price momentum divergences here. Look at this RSI divergence. Yuck. I mean, that's just as ugly can get. And also, of course, we've got Willie nice and divergent as well. So, really bad technical sign here. That's not good at all.
It's like that. I was telling you, literally every one of your indicators was saying run.
Yeah, pretty much. So, and unfortunately, this is often the end result. Kapow. So, I mean, the problem here, of course, is that, this is unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if Alan was involved in this. And Alan somehow made some money out of this, along with Gene Simmons and Snoop Dogg and all them. This is how blatantly criminal this looks to me. This is really, really bad. Unfortunately, unregulated space. So, all these people that were suckered into buying here, whatever the reason is, man, they just pulled the floor out from underneath these people. And the problem is this is one of these anonymous coin things. And all it takes is somebody saying, the U.S. government has now officially made it illegal to use anonymous coins, and these things are toast. So I don't know. And that's one of the reasons why I think Dash hasn't done very well. So, I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I could be completely wrong here. Maybe I am. Geo over there on YouTube says ZEC is on Coinbase as well. Man. Taylor Made 3906 says PulseChain is the world's largest airdrop. Piece of shit fork. Oh, sorry, POS.
No, I mean, I was going to respond in a nicer way that pretty much said that. I mean,
I just saw piece of shit. No, I mean POS. Sorry. Taylor Made 3906 sounds wonderful. Great, awesome. Good luck. As I said earlier, we're going to try and stick to the names that we have on the list here. I guess the question ultimately now is, you're an OGer. You didn't get swept up in all this bullshit. You didn't get the rug pulled. Do you step in and take a chance on the long side on something like this right now? I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. I could understand, guys who maybe did make a fortune up top here, maybe even shorting up here, covering and coming in and buying this back. Of course, this is Ben's favorite chart pattern. So I'd be interested to see whether Ben might be interested in taking a shot off of this. But, I'll leave that up to him. You might want to wait for the W actually to fire. It is interesting. Sjord, our CTO, he loves when he sees RSI do this, when Bollinger Bands do this on RSI. To him, this is a very powerful signal that something big is coming here. We W'd out, then we M'd out. I don't think you really can make a conclusive decision until we're actually closing outside of the band. So this is going to probably take some time to do its thing. But the good sign is that the bands are tightening. Something big is coming down the pike here. And I suppose you can make the argument, location. So, we are down at the bottom end of ranges. I don't know the fundamental story here, and like I said, I said earlier, I heard Mr. Powell say that he's going to come out and shit all over the stablecoin space in September. I don't know whether that has anything to do with these anonymous coins or not. I will say, as a trader's got to trade, they've taken the risk out of the market. I mean, this is the risk, and kaboom, it's gone now. Do we come in here and actually put in a bottom and maybe start to work our way back up? I wouldn't fault a trader coming and saying, Brian, I got location, I've got RSI squeezing here. If I get a bullish resolution out of here, I'm going to go with it. You might even want to say, you know what, I'm going to turn this around on you, Beamish. You give me a nice W on the other side of this trend line, and I go long. You could do that. I wouldn't fault you for that. I would just say that the anonymous coin space, that has me a little bit leery right now. So that's probably the way I would look at this. It's not a terrible location. And Ben, what do you think? Can you see Mr. Wyckoff in there doing his thing?
Yeah, I like me some Wyckoff check.
There we go. Did he say he likes what was that? What did you say? I'm just kidding. It's terrible. Colleen on the site, she go, goddamn Brian, 12-year-old, Jesus, he won't grow up. Sorry, it's terrible. All right, so all you traders, I think that, this RSI signal, I think that's your tell. If you get a W and it breaks out through the top there, I think if you believe in this thing, you might have a shot here. So anyway, all right, that's my 2 cents. I don't know whether you guys got any value out of that, but what do you? Okay, well, I guess I'll write up my thing here. So I'm gonna say, walk down memory lane. No idea why I would buy now. Might set up a TA. What do I say? I might set up a trade, I guess. But little FA impetus. I don't know. I guess we'll get rid of walk down memory lane reference. Anyway. So no idea why I would buy now. Whoa, that's weird. Somebody just zapped me.
Yeah, I think I stepped on you. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, you totally killed me.
Oh,
I think you have to hit your undo.
I did hit my undo just now.
Oh well, it's gone. Oh boy. So what did I say? I can't even remember what I said. We got to move you over though, right? Can you move yourself over there?
I got it.
All right. So maybe if anything, that was Derek saying, "Beamish, you just talk too much." The way I'm gonna shut you up is I'm just gonna type right over top of you, cocksucker.
Complete accident.
Yeah, right, sure. Now, what the hell was I saying? I can't remember what I said. Bye. No. What did I say? I said, no FA idea why I would buy, but interesting TA said for a potential trade. And I'll put bracket RSI. What's the word Stuart likes to use? I think he says compresses or something like that. Okay, so what's Derek saying here? I think this is Derek beside me, right? Yeah, Derek saying, I like the idea of privacy. Privacy is good. TA would maybe wait for 88.6. I think it might go a little lower. Nick is just going to make it short and sweet, I guess. Is that Nick right there? Where's everybody's name?
That is Nick.
Right.
Just not interested.
And Ben says, good location for a nibble. Looking for a W now. Yeah, and like I said, on the other side of that trend line, if you're interested, it might actually be worth taking a shot at. Nibble, I like that. So, I mean, you know what it is? Unfortunately for me, this is more nostalgic than anything else. Oh, that's you talking over there. So you're talking, you're chatting with TaylorMade 3906, Nick?
Yep. I mean,
all right. That's cool.
I'm fine.
Cool.
I'm fine if they like that chain. I just have no interest in it.
All right. I don't know how we're doing on time. I'm sure we're hitting that 5-minute mark perfectly, right? So
I feel like we're doing better than most weeks so far, I think. We're at least
good.
Moving through them.
All right. Next on the hit list, AMP.
So AMP is interesting. I had never heard of AMP before about a month ago. It went on a run pretty recently.
Is this the old Augur play? I don't remember.
I don't think it's related to Augur. It's used as collateral for payments. It's used with the Flexa app, which is a payment app that can be used around the US and Canada. Seems to have a bunch of different locations you can use it. And it's for in-store payments that are instant payments, and you can facilitate the instant payments in the stores by kind of collateralizing the AMP. So then you will either essentially pay it back to like Flexa, or else they'll take your collateral. And so it's just a way to make crypto payments like a lot quicker, it seems. So it's a really interesting concept. I'd never heard of it before I researched it for the show, though.
Well, one thing I do like is the push to new highs here was clean. Nice, powerful volume pushes. And then the top that came in here in OBV was on the top in price. So, believe it or not, actually, technically speaking, this looks very healthy. So straight up, straight down. So that's good. If you're a bull, you know, that might be a sign that, you know, this might be one that does okay down the road. Volume impetus on the weekly chart still pointing higher. And you can see on this sell-off, the bears, they just kind of, they're active, they're in control here, but they're very, very quiet. So, I mean, it's not, you know, when I saw that other coin, I saw that massive bear div across the board. That was a really bad sign. This one, yeah. I mean, don't chase. You have to just somehow learn patience and discipline in this game. I suppose one might even argue off of this recent W. You know, we're coming into some interesting areas right down in here. If you are an AMP bull. And the interesting thing about this is you might even, that low down there is 0.2025. And this high up here is 0.078. So what that says to me is, I think there's an opportunity to try and sneak in down in this area here. And if you got like a nice bearish or bullish divergence, I suppose, in your momentum indicators, something like that. All right. I'm drawing trends with the highlighter. You know, I do like this this area down in here against all this tail right here. That's sexy. That tail right down in there. And of course, you've heard me say candle body lows for trade location. I mean, this is the original double bottom that set up this whole bull run here. So a great looking support level. And the cool part about this is down into here, this is coming into higher time frame support levels down in here, right against these lows. So I mean, I don't know whether I really like buying here. That's kind of no man's land. But I really do like the idea of concentrating down in this area down in here. So, I mean, it's almost in trade location for a guy like me. And like I said, you might actually, if we're really lucky, get a situation where it dips into here. You can pick some up off of these lows. And then, you know, what is a double? How do you get a double? Well, that's all it is just a rally back to there. So you work your stink bids against the bottom ends of ranges, candle body low, that kind of stuff. Counter trend rally back into all of these resistance levels. And you, boom, you get sell half on a double order filled. You got yourself a free trade. And that's what I like for trading. So I think that's doable. It's just problem is there's nothing to do right there right now. So weird. It sort of feels like the market, you know, again, we're not seeing a lot. You know, I'd love to load up one of these videos with you guys and go, you know, like right here and like, holy shit, guys, get ready. You know, I mean, that's what I want to show you guys, but that doesn't look like that, does it? You know, so
I mean, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah. I just hope I don't put you guys to sleep before then.
No, I am really, this is one of the reasons I really like that I'm part of this show is I had no idea what AMP is, but it's one of the ones kind of in the the bottom half here that I've seen that I'm actually really intrigued. I kind of want to go try the app.
Mm-hmm. Ben, what do you think? Have we perked your interest?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really interesting story. Like the idea that you can have more secure transactions by, like collateralizing a faster transaction platform against something like AMP, where the transactions are a little bit slower, but they ensure the whole payment. I've never heard of that as well, so I like the story. But I feel like I missed the run up there a few weeks ago, so I'll wait for it to come back down. And
whoa, patience and discipline.
Yeah.
Like to hear that. That's sexy. All right, Derek, you're our final jury member. You know, if anything, I think each week we should have a star of the week. Like, did you guys notice that last week we were all excited about, which is the one that we were all excited about? I think it was like a week or two ago. We were going on about one that we really liked in our list. I think it was the Thor.
2 weeks
Remember,
ago
it
was
Thor?
Luna, but yeah, no, I am incredibly bullish on ThorChain. Yes.
Yeah, I seem to remember. And the guys that were a part of ThorChain, they're like, "Oh, thanks for the shout outs, guys. Awesome." You know. So I'd just be curious, you know, in our list here, you know, we're not even halfway through the list, so I got to keep moving forward here. But I'd just be curious to see who would we consider as the star of each week. Maybe give that a thought in the back of your mind.
Okay.
Okay, so AMP, I'm going to say, like the story, not so sure about a trade. I will wait for RLZs to reload. And and reload zones I think are a little bit lower here. I like that sort of like 3 cent area. That would be the area I'd be interested in. So I'll say 0.03. Okay. So Derek says, interested FA, unique project, would like to learn more. TA, like the idea to establishing free position. Okay, cool. Maybe some like stinky bids against the bottom end of the range there. If you're lucky, you get a nice little panic dump. Might be a nice.
Yeah, this is one of the ones I would probably like to maybe find out a little bit more if there's like a big community following, that type of thing. Because it seems like it's been getting. Like I'm hearing more about it. Like somebody popped into like a chat a couple weeks ago and was asking about it too. So
okay.
It may be one of those ones that it's kind of flying under the radar a little bit, but has a good following and that type of thing. So it may pump later on. So.
Okie dokie. Intrigued, want to try the app out, like the use case. That's you, Derek, right?
That is Nick.
Yeah. Oh, that's Nick. Oh, why do I keep thinking Nick is first? Okay. So Nick wants to get in there and get his hands dirty with the actual app. That's kind of cool. And Ben says, interesting FA, waiting for some cheaper prices. All right, sounds good. That'll help. Thank you. Appreciate it. Old man Beamish yelling at the interneting. All right, NEM. NEM. Oh, man, this sounds familiar. I seem to remember following this one years ago.
I was going to say,
Is this
Nem, do you want to
Richard
handle
Hart?
this one then, Brian?
No, Don, I don't handle anything. I'm dumb as a fence post. So, actually, it was a good-looking chart. See, I'm one of the only guys that
I was
pull
gonna
up the
say-
chart. It's an absolute crater, and Brian's like, "Woo, hello."
I might look for a different chart. I think it's been around since like 2015 or
Yeah,
something.
this thing's been here forever. Isn't this Richard Hart or? They got a fun. It's one of these funny names and the characters behind it. They got a great story. Is it the husband and wife? I think that was
No,
that
this
was
is-
the
I mean,
easiest
it
one,
says-
right?
As far as I can tell, it's a smart contract platform that's supposed to be a high performance smart contract platform. So
High
Seems
performance.
like it's more for like enterprises, businesses as well.
Ooh, sexy.
Yeah.
Kind of, it reminds me, and I don't know if this is true. This is me guessing. It reminds me a little bit of that Clayton that we talked about a few weeks ago. That was, I think, a South Korean kind of enterprise grade blockchain as well.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true, but when
I
reading
like
about
that
it,
idea of companies actually having blockchains. I think that makes sense.
yeah, it seems like they're definitely kind of one of those blockchain solution to like for businesses
Mm-hmm.
coins.
Kind of
So.
like Stellar Lumen was to try and be for IBM kind of thing.
Yeah, it seems like it could be pretty similar to that.
Does anyone remember the coin check hack?
Is that what this
This
is?
one?
This got hacked?
Right. Yeah, it was bigger than the Mt. Gox
Really?
hack. So it was 500 million was stolen from
Oh, Jesus.
Japanese exchange.
Kaboom. Yeah, that sounds a bit familiar.
But I remember them saying that they were going to be paying everyone back. I think they might have.
Oh, that'd be
But
cool.
at the beginning of this year, they found like 100 million of them that were stolen, and people were trying to spend them. So they had tracked them all, and they're out there, but I don't think they can be spent. Yeah, interesting bit of information on them.
Technically speaking, I actually like. Remember, we were looking at one earlier where we were kind of like 38.2 is probably a pretty good technical objective. So this is an interesting one where you can see this old uptrend line, support line, is now probably a brick wall of resistance along here. So, here we are, 11 cents. That's 38 cents. Could you get a 3 or 4x on your money into things like the end of the year? Like I said, I like the idea that Mr. Powell's going to come out and shit on crypto in the middle of September. Everybody's going to panic and dump into the event, but following that, I think there's going to be an absolute just face rip rally. So this is where something like this could, like through the summer, I don't know what it's going to do. Maybe it comes up, but I could very easily see into that end of the year that kind of rally back up into that 38.2. I could see that. That wouldn't surprise me. Our rule, we want to see W on the other side of trend line. Tell you, that sure keep you out of a hell of a lot of trouble. Sure, I mean, like you people that aren't really that familiar with technical analysis, you're just watching this for the first time. I'm giving you gold. I mean, it probably took me 20 years, and nobody ever teaches you this shit. And I just keep showing you guys over and over and over. Just wait for the W on the other side of the trend line. So I think it's actually pretty obvious, right? If we go up through the top here, that's going to be a big honking W. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, like I said, there might actually be a nice little trade there. Probably the coup de grace would be, do we have a nice bullish divergence here to set up that trade? And the survey says, it's not bad. Would have liked to have seen this MACD really break out through this top a little bit better. So it's iffy. If anything, I hate to say it, this still looks very sort of like I'm a coil. And I don't know what it is exactly I want to do just yet. So I don't know. Would have, had I been like a rip-roaring bull, I would have loved to have seen a nice blast off through here. So I think what this means is you want to still see that blast off. Let the RSI blast off. Give you that W. There's another good example you can see, RSI, Bollinger Band on RSI, very wide here. Don't touch this fucking thing. Just don't touch it. But notice how RSI is coiling here, right? You can see the volatility is coming out of the market. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to go one way or the other, but if we can close up above this band here, right, that's actually a pretty bullish sign. So it's not there yet. Probably putting the cart before the horse a little bit here. It's not a buy yet, but it is one of those kind of assets where I'd be like, well, let's just watch it, right? And then, of course, actually I was telling, anybody who trades venture capital stocks, it's really easy in venture capital land. I mean, it's so ridiculously easy. All you want to do is you want to just look for the green big dildos. This is actually a stock that's in the crypto space. We were buying here, and I sold here. I mean, what do you think? Is Brian a stock picker? fucking A, man. I fucking own this market. But the point here is just that what we really want to see for us to go, okay, this thing's ready to go, is we want to see the buyers actually step up. All right, and that would be like, well, I know, let's put it on here. Volume, where's the volume? That's kind of weird. Built-ins. Can I have volume, please? Try that again. Volume. All. Let's try VOL. Okay, I must be on drugs. Doing something wrong here. There we go, volume. What you really want to see is you want to see these tells of the big green dildos. All right, there's a big green dildo. You can see. Just do. Boom! Hello, I'm a big green dildo. And then, of course, you know, as we were working up here, look at this one. Boom! I mean, you don't necessarily need to buy that day. You might, you know, good old Ben. Don't take no wooden nickels. There's the W. Okay, I'm just going to work my order. I don't know whether I got filled there or not, but that's pretty darn close. And of course, you know, trades, you know, produces stuff like that. But what we really want to see is we want to see these big green dildos, like big buying bars here. And like I said, that one's a great one there. As just one example, I mean, it's probably not the best example. There's some others that were really great. This is a fun one that I traded. Look at these. Another great example. Look at these big green dildo bars, right? Look at that. Bang, bang. And then chunky bars, right? And chunky. And, of course, the thing just keeps chunking along here. I think this stock's actually going much higher. All I got to do is just wait for the big green dildo to come in here, right? And you can see the trade setting itself up. So the same sort of thing works in crypto itself. So I see this image right here, and I just say, okay, wait, you know what I need to see is I just need somebody to wake up and take control of this market. And you see how everybody's just like, they've all just fallen asleep. Both the bears and the bulls, everybody's just falling asleep, getting quieter and quieter and quieter. What we really want to see is that big green dildo. You see that? Then away we go. All right, and of course, if that can come on this nice W breakout and price, well, I think you got something to work with. And, you know, 11 cents up to 38 cents. Well, I definitely should be able to sell half on a double. Maybe sell half on a triple. Who knows? So, I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not a buy today. If anything, it's cheap. But technically speaking, this is like I'm from Missouri. I could break out. I could be a bull. But you got to show me first. So, I don't know. What do you think, boys? Any value in that information? Say nice and cheap. Show me the W's. So close. Okay. Derek says, interested FA. Been around for a while. Corporate. TA, bottom of range, LOL candidate. Sounds good. I like that. Oh, speaking of which, and actually we should probably do a poll. Let's maybe we'll leave the comments open, and the three of you maybe even chime in too. Mr. Da Vinci has been poking his head up around the Coinigy site, and he'd like to try and do another one of these Coinigy videos that we used to do eons ago. So why don't we leave it up to the community and the poll? Would you guys like us to try and get together with Da Vinci and do another one of these Coinigy videos that we used to do with the boys? I don't know whether any of you guys even remember them. Do you remember the Coinigy videos that we used to do? Did any of you guys ever watch any of them?
I went back and I watched one of the ones you did with when you guys got together with the Coinigy guy, you and Da Vinci. I think who else was in there? I don't know the other guy. There was another guy too.
Alex Sturck from Ubik. And actually, we had Alex on the site about a month or so ago.
Yeah, I watched one or two of those, but I wasn't around at that time. Then I just went back and watched one of them recently.
Well, that's your guy, right? And Ben too, right? I don't know whether you still follow Da Vinci. I happen to have Google page open, and Da Vinci's like, "Hey, I'm back in town, baby!" It's like, oh boy. So here comes Da Vinci. So I don't know whether you guys want us to do another one of those Coinergy videos, but what the hell, he seems to be all full of piss and vinegar, so it might be interesting to do one of those. So leave your messages, hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell, ring Derek's bell. Derek needs his bell rung. Whatever the hell that means. So and let us know whether you and maybe even tell Da Vinci, hey, that Beamish guy's been talking about how you want to do another video, so maybe poke him, and we'll see if we'll do something in the not too distant future. All right, back to the frivolity here. What were we talking about? NEM. Derek says, interested FA. Okay, we already bumped into you. You might take a look at it LOL style. Not that interested, says Nick, but I like enterprise use case. All right, sounds very formal. And Ben says, keep an eye on it. Not yet, though. Okay. I think we have got a pretty good idea what we think about this guy. All right, moving on. TEL. What the heck is this thing? Did I put the chart in here? Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry to interrupt.
So Telcoin is an Asian. I think they're from Singapore, but it's a remittance app, and so I think they're actually owned by a telecommunications company in Singapore, but their use case is cheap remittance. I think they say they do it for about 2% or something. I read.
Looks like they are all over this DeFi, eh? They're on the Uniswap. They got the Sushi Swap going.
Yeah, the one thing about those, if you pick those, it's usually it's based off of ETH, not the USD.
Oh, okay. Which one you want us to look at? KuCoin? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I mean, just you could pick a KuCoin or a Huobi, see what's got some history.
All right. Well, we'll start with KuCoin. Boosh. All right. A little bit of range.
That's not a lot. You got a month.
Oh man, is that what it was?
I can try to find one.
I feel like we took a snapshot of the top 100 right when this one launched.
It just snuck in there. It didn't really have any business being in here.
But I mean, this launched, I want to say, back in 2017.
Right. Okay.
All right, Ben. Where do you want me looking at this thing?
Launches and pumped.
How about on Polo?
I think KuCoin.
Ooh, look at Polo. Wow, Polo's got some.
Is that one been around for a while?
Actually, this is an interesting level, and this makes sense. Because keep in mind, Goldman Sachs, they want to steal your money. Please, everybody understand this. When I was a broker, we had a really simple rule. If you ever heard Goldman Sachs tell you to do something on a public broadcast, you do the exact opposite trade. Instantly. So, the fact that Goldman Sachs is involved in crypto, that alone you should go, well, unregulated space, they're out to fuck people. Makes sense, par for the course. So, I actually kind of like the fact that this thing looked like crap on that other exchange that we were looking at, right? There's just not much to work with there. And I don't even know if that's the right thing. TLOU, TLOS.u, that might be something completely different,
Yeah, that's Telos. That is different.
So that's not the same thing. Telor, is that what we're looking at? Telor? TRB?
No, just Telcoin, TEL.
Isn't that weird? So I can't even get my head on straight. But hey, I sure had fun taking a poke at Goldman Sachs there. Eh? Okay, let's try this again. TEL, and the only TELs I got here, boys, are this KuCoin, and that's it.
Yeah,
the
because
only
otherwise
US
it's on.
dollar one.
I mean, it's showing here on Uniswap and QuickSwap and 1inch Exchange, so all
But
the
these are
decentralized
versus
exchanges.
ETH and stuff like that. We can't really get like a dollar sort of figure for this.
Interesting. So there on KuCoin, it does have a bunch of history for the Bitcoin chart. I know we haven't really been doing Bitcoin
Oh wow,
charts.
look at that, eh? Yeah. Oh geez, this thing goes back. Oh, look at that.
So I mean,
Yeah,
maybe we
isn't
want to
that
just do this one
interesting?
because we don't have a good option.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I wonder why they would do that. You know, if anything, you know what this looks like? This looks to me like kind of like a Doge kind of story. Do you guys remember my Verge story? Ben, what price did I buy my Verge coins at? You remember?
Nah, I can't
Is that
remember.
like 2 or 4 sets or something?
Yeah. So
Two
this is
sets,
one of
4
these kind of
sets.
things, right? We always say the longer the channel, the bigger the run. So this guy sat down in here in this channel, maybe not going all the way back there, but this guy sat in this channel for quite some time. Let's see if I can move that over. There we go. So, and man, what a torture test, eh? Can you imagine if you came in on the ICO and then you just watch this day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year? I mean, what a torture test. And then all of a sudden you've completely lost interest and it just comes to life. Torture. And it looks like it even gave a couple head fake bottoms. Look at that bottom in there. You might have been able to get a double. That was at 211. They got up to 420, exactly a double, and then it stopped. Jerks. So that to me looks like a completely manufactured trade. Breaking lots of hearts. This is so typical venture capital, so typical crypto. And fascinating that something turned the bus. And actually, this reminds me a lot. I actually asked somebody on Twitter if they could go and count how many banging out doubles tweets I did. And actually, somebody even counted since the beginning of this year. It's some crazy ass number. But when the whole crypto market came alive like this, through the spring, I was banging out just a ton of these doubles out. Just bang, 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 bang. You know, kind of like what I did. Remember? Do you guys remember what was the name I was going to change my name to on Doge? Do you guys remember that? No?
Sephora Dona or something?
Oh, close.
I don't remember. Something Sedona. I don't know. I can't even say it.
Sedona
Sephora.
Euphoria. That was the name on the site. So, anyway, the point of the matter is the whole damn market just went absolutely crazy there into that spring, and I suppose this is maybe another name just sort of trying to calm down here a bit. I mean, I don't know what you make out of this. I mean, just absolutely insane pump. Obviously, this is You know what's interesting is Bitcoin kind of did the same thing following the Silk Road reversal, and they actually blamed, this was in the fall of 2013, and they actually blamed it on what they called the Willy bot, where an algorithm was sort of let loose on Gox, and it just went absolutely crazy, and it just bid the price of Bitcoin up from like 100, I think it was like 100, 150, $200, something like that, right up to like $1,100, just zing straight up. So I wonder whether an algo or something was let loose here, because this looks awfully suspicious, doesn't it? To me it does. If anything, if you see an asset, you own an asset, and you see something go up like this, you got to tell yourself, too far, too fast. And the very minimum, the absolute minimum this thing should do is 50% retracements, right? Which is right there. And sure enough, look at that. Right after the top, straight up, bang, right into the 50% level. So, is this thing a buy now? No. My hunch is this thing won't be a buy until... Actually, this is an interesting one. You might go there to there. And this is a tough one, right? Derek, this is a good example of your market structure trend lines. So can you see how we've broken this down trend line, but actually I think that the real trend is this trend line here. So I might make an argument that this thing's actually range bound between these 2 points. And I suppose you could also make another argument that that is also a massive resistance line as well. So it is going to be a bit of a slog to get back on the bull side. And after this huge run, I mean, this is what I was kind of worried about with things like Luna, is they just went straight up. And, you know, that's just not sustainable over time. So you just got to let things settle down. And that's what this thing's going to go through. And this might take a very, very long time to settle down. I don't really see any reason to be even the slightest bit interested in this. Sorry, Tel. And that's versus Bitcoin. Maybe if we can get a versus dollar story, maybe it's a little bit better. But there's not really much to get excited about there. Which kind of sucks. But anyway, that's the TA picture that I see. I'm just going to say pass. Not interested, FA. What's the differentiator? Yeah. Remittance is important use case, but I'm not that interested. Yeah. And actually, don't you remember Cripple? Cripple used to be labeled as the best remittance cryptocurrency when I first got into the game.
I think they're kind of still trying to bill it as that.
Yeah. And not interested at the moment. All right. Keep it short and sweet, to the point, Ben. Okay. Yearn Finance. Oh, YFI. This was this one that it went absolutely nuts right out of the gate, didn't it? It just went up this.
Yeah, well, maybe, I don't know if it was right out of the gate. It probably did during DeFi summer last year. But it came out probably very early 2020.
Wow, look how expensive this thing got.
Yeah, I mean it's always kind of been around the price of a Bitcoin recently this year.
Yeah, I remember when it first came out of the gate last year. I was stunned that like this was like 40 G's back when Bitcoin wasn't even close to that, right? And we used to look at it on the site and go, man, people are actually willing to pay like multiple Bitcoins for this damn thing? I was really surprised.
So the protocol is really neat. It was a very innovative protocol. It's where users will actually kind of not really stake, but deposit their stables into YFI, and then they will go and kind of manage that money and get the highest yields that you can across DeFi with it.
Oh, wow.
And
I like
so,
the sound of that.
so you can get pretty good returns with YFI kind of owning that, I guess, or managing it.
Like you can see on the screen, like right out of the gate, this thing was just all the fucking rage. Remember that? I mean, the sad part about it, technically speaking, is what pattern is that? It's staring you right in the face. That's about as ugly gets. I don't know. Anyone? Let's see. Ryan! Hey, Ryan. Hope life is going well down there in Texas. Does anybody want to take a stab at that? What do we call that?
Are we waiting for chat, or do you want us to go?
Oh, okay, or anybody.
Well, I mean, I was going to say, you did just select the Head and Shoulders tool from TradingView, so.
So there you go. So, unfortunately, seeing that's not really the best sign. It's just like, uh-oh. Trouble, Will Robinson. My hunch is, I bet you that was even a momentum divergence up there. Yep. Look at that MACD. Ugh. Look at RSI. Ugh. Horrible. So, you know, if you're an aspiring trader, you have to learn when you see this, you just got to leave this thing alone. Just don't touch it. Just leave it alone. So, as you can see, it did have to come down. Now, the easy way I would measure this, again, remember I told you earlier, what did I say? If you're going to measure bearish head and shoulders what is it you need to change your chart to?
Log?
Good. Oh, we'll change it to log, and there you go. So that actually looks a little more manageable. So we'll go.
Oh, you mean we're not going below zero?
Yeah, probably not. So, and here's the problem with TradingView. When you do log charts, notice when you drag that, it just turns into a pain in the butt. So, as I've told you guys before, and it kind of sucks, maybe one day we'll figure this out, but you have to manually sort of eyeball And what I do, the guys watching the hangout with me here, is I'm just going to take my hand up to the screen, and I'm going to eyeball it, and then I'm just going to take that over there, and I know it looks very unprofessional, but that's about the best way I can do it for you guys. So there's your target. And interesting, basically we came down into that level. And notice, this is actually kind of cool, because remember, what did we say that was sort of the hallmark that this was a top? See if anybody can get this. I said there was something that if you saw this, holy shit, you got to go, uh-oh. Anyone? I can't squeeze it out. I'm going to pinch a loaf here. Somebody. No? That down here, maybe? This down here, maybe?
Just all the
just momentum.
Divergence! There you go. You got it. Awesome. Way to go. So the point here is you should look at this and go, well, I see the market made lower lows. But, hey, that's kind of odd. Look at the momentum indicator. It did not make lower lows. And actually it was making higher lows. So something's not right there. And actually, I think, do you guys Nick, have you done Willie yet?
That is this week. Well, yeah, the Williams percentile.
So this is actually why I built this indicator, was to give me this message right here. So right in this window here, I would look at this and I would say, maybe this is a bear, maybe this thing's a piece of shit, but this is not when you want to be selling. This is actually the market being stupid. And this is a heavily modified Williams percentage R indicator. And when this moving average is quote unquote oversold, it is, to me, it's the market being stupid. And sure enough, right? I mean, maybe you were a bear, but that was not the best time to be a seller. You should have waited for this. So, Willie stupid, bull div and MACD, and oh goodness, what's that right there?
It's a lot of green volume.
Come on. You got to satisfy the pervert. What is that?
That is a big green dildo.
Thank you. And just to FYI, everyone, God rest your soul, sir. This is my background in honor of a gentleman that I think was assisted off of this plane of existence. So that one goes out to you, Mr. McAfee. All right, back to our show. So maybe big green dildos here kind of help you see that, hey, you know what? We've got bullish divergence. We got big green dildos. Unfortunately, this would have been a very, very difficult trade for noobs to take. Actually, I'd be interested. Let's see if Ben knows the answer to this. I doubt he does. But what do we call this 3-bar pattern in here? Boom, boom, boom.
I would be taking a guess, to be honest.
All right. Anybody want to help him out?
Is that an empire?
Yeah, Empire, this high here should be about the same level. I'll just call that a fractal. It's a pretty violent one. Like I said, it wouldn't be an easy trade to take. And, actual sort of fractal aficionados would actually like this to be a 5-bar. So they would actually like this, and this bar to take into account. And actually their buy signal for the 5-bar fractal people is actually all the way up there. But regardless, seeing the bull div, seeing the location, seeing the big green dildo, right, you should just sort of understand what's going on here. And probably the easiest thing is, what did we say was the knee-jerk reaction sort of technical level that markets generally like to bounce to, and then we find out whether they're actually a bull or a bear or not?
The 38.2.
Yeah. So, didn't quite get that 38.2 bounce in here, but got pretty good bounce up into here. And the worst part about this is that's a higher high, right? Do you think momentum made a higher high? I doubt it. Let's see. No, not there. No higher high in RSI. No higher high in Willie. no higher high in volume impetus. So, oh boy. Lots of signs coming into this high that probably the rally's done. And what's interesting is, for the shark traders here, what do we call this? A 3-bar pattern right here. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Ben? What do we call that?
You're still muted, Ben.
He's just thinking.
3-bar fractal?
Yes, that's right. And I like to ask questions that are going to really screw with people's heads. The answer, ironically enough, is exactly the same answer as this. It's an identical answer. It's a 3-bar fractal, as though this one's a bearish one. Also, too, now this advance points. What do I like to call this 2-bar pattern right here? And why does Brian like that so much? I don't think you would know this unless you actually took the course.
Yeah.
So that's probably actually it'd be interesting to let's quiz Derek because Nick's already had this material recently. So Derek, what would we call this? Well, really, it's a 3-bar pattern, but specifically, what would we call that?
Is that one of the Japanese patterns?
Yeah, sort of. Close.
I don't know which one it is, though.
I mean, these are Japanese candlesticks. So the odds are it's probably going to be something Japanese.
One of the Amis?
One of the Amis. There you go. We'll call it California Roll Ami. No, that doesn't work. Dynamite Roll Ami. No, that doesn't work. No. I like to call this a bear rami. We can't call it harami. Harami would imply that this is technically an inside bar reversal. That would be sort of the bonus point answer if you gave me inside bar reversal, and that's what you were going to say, right, Nick? You could. Also,
I was actually going to just go with Bearami, but
okay. Well, Bearami's cool. In essence, inside bar. We're not allowed to call it harami because you can see actually part of baby's body's outside of mummy's body, so we can't call it harami. But interesting, can you see how the bear rami is followed by a railroad tracks, which ultimately, if the railroad tracks fails, what does this turn into now? Just what? I'll change it to a line chart. Maybe it'll make it a little easier on you.
That's an
I am.
Yeah, what are we supposed to think if we see the market smiling at us? Uh-oh. So, I mean, the worst part about this is I think that we had, I think what's happened here is you had like some trader trade slick levels, right? Fractal low off of a bull div. We had a bear div. I actually think there's a half decent short up here. Definitely take profits. Head and shoulders top. Coming down into those objectives, bull divs, huge green dildos, bullish fractal, market rallies, bear div, bullish sort of impetus, totally falling off here, bear divs in momentum, bear div in RSI, and then in comes a double top, which paints your sell signal. And the interesting thing is we can actually walk through this. Notice, gee whiz, there's a W. What do you think the odds are that was on a bull div? Well, we see MACD firming up. The lowest low in MACD was there. So, yep, that was a bull div. And actually, you can even see nice little W there in RSI. A nice little W with Willie being stupidly oversold right there. And lo and behold, what letter of the alphabet is that? I don't know whether you can see that or not. It's kind of hard to see, but that's a nice little W. And up we go. And, you just do it, rinse and repeat over and over and over. So where are we now in the big picture of all this? 38.2 still look like they have not been resolved here. So that's fascinating. I think you had just an absolute, insane bull run. Market dumped. And basically, I might make the argument that the market right now is pretty much trapped in a trading range. Where, somewhere down against here is the bottom end of the range, and that's probably against this previous traffic level in here. Top end of the range, bottom end of the range, and, I do kind of like the idea that if you're going to go and use this thing, you're not really, how do we say this? the people that were going to use this, there's a mad rush of them all piling in, right? And now those people are in the market. And now I get the impression that those people are in, and they're just there. This is their capital working away inside this story. Does that sound accurate?
It could be. I think so. This was before my time in crypto by just a little bit. I think there weren't any VCs. I think it was mostly liquidity mined to get the original tokens out. I could be wrong on that, but to me, that would say that you don't have a lot of that institutional dumping, and so that kind of could be to me. I mean, if a lot of retail is getting the tokens, they see it going up, they're not going to want to sell it, so that could be why it spiked up initially, at least.
Okay. I would just say knee-jerk reaction is we're having a very significant battle here at this 38.2. So that's got to be a tell. And my hunch is if this can resolve up through 38.2, then we probably are starting to talk about new bull markets. You could probably draw a downtrend line and, first W on the other side of that, which is kind of coming in over here. Not a bad place to take a shot. You could even kind of like do a reload zone of that range and that range. So there's your reload zone of that, right? And so what a surprise. Nice W's coming in right through there. That's not a bad level at all. And what's fascinating is that goddamn Ben guy. He just gets around all over the place. Can you see him? Like, what? Ben, is this you again? Did you just do another one of your trades? Maybe my sense of humor's falling.
Apparently so.
Yeah. So there's another one of Ben's Wyckoff checks. Doink. And what's fascinating about this is notice dead cat bounce off of the Wyckoff check. And then look at what they did here. You can go there to there. And notice how they just brought it down into this range, down in there. So clearly, and actually, this is actually a really cool little sort of, how do you call it? What would be the expression I would use? Not really rule of thumb, but sort of like, just try and keep it in the back of your mind. Just try and think about what do markets in transition look like. Markets in transition almost always look like triangles, one sort of form or another. And often it ends up looking something like that. And what's interesting about this kind of concept of triangles is really this is a reload zone of this range, and this is a reload zone of this range, and this is a reload zone of this range. So what really ends up happening is that at the bottom of these triangles, you get this killer trade location, and really all you got to think about is just overlapping reload zones. If you're going to take a risk in the marketplace, try and hunt these situations where you're basically buying a reload zone within a reload zone within a reload zone. I think you probably heard me say that in the level 1 program, eh? Does that sound familiar? Derek, what do you think? Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you say it on a lot of the daily briefs.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, at least the message is consistent. That's the most important thing out of your teacher. You hate when they are flip-flopping and they change the message and shit like that. That's terrible. So if anything, it's good. I might be wrong, but at least I'm going to say the same damn thing every single time. So then you can go, this guy's just full of shit. But hey, at least he's consistent. Anyway, point here is if you're going to take a shot on a name, if you can find situations where you have overlapping reload zones, the odds go up. And remember, that's all we're doing here, people, is we're just playing statistics. So, not bad. I mean, I'm interested in this. I'd love to, in this kind of environment, go and build bags of these DeFi names that are kind of out of favor. Because, man, when you guys get all fucking circle jerky about this stuff, you can just ramp these things to the moon. So to me, that's probably got some serious money to be made here. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I sure hope you enjoyed that. I'm gonna say RLZ in RLZ in RLZ. Enough said. All right, let's see. What's Derek gonna tell us here? Interested. All right, there you go. Big DeFi project. Haven't used it though. Nick's, that's because you live over on what's the DeFi project you love? I want to say Cosmos or something like that.
No, I mean just the chain itself is Polygon, but
Polygon, that's it.
Yeah, I mean it's just Ethereum for poor people.
Okay. And Ben says, "Fuck you, Brian." All right, she's too not interested in a row. Gee, come on, Ben. Can't we get you excited about anything in crypto these days? Didn't we say that was a Wyckoff check for you? What the hell? What's going on here? Don't do it. You're holding me back. Yeah, actually, I thought you would have liked that. You're not interested in this thing, eh?
I missed the Wyckoff check, didn't I?
Okay. Oh, touche. There you go. Yeah. Oh, good comeback. Good comeback. Okay, moving on. And how you feeling, boys? What time is it?
It's good. I probably should have cut us off a little earlier on YFI. We stayed there a while, but I'll do better.
Oh, well, no, I'm the one who is derailing us here. I just love the sound of my own voice. Okay, next up on the hit list, HOT. Hot. What the hell is this? Hot Cross.
I think you want Holo.
Holo. Okay, where the... Oh, so Holo BUSD, that kind of thing down here?
Yeah, probably
Tethers?
the Tether. Yeah, let's try that one.
Of course, the irony of it all is that, all these Binance and Tether references might be absolutely, remember, folks, the U.S. government made ownership of gold illegal by U.S. citizens back in the 1930s. And the reason why? Because people were owning gold and they didn't like owning U.S. dollars because it was all a fucking scam. Ooh, does it sound kind of familiar, folks? So I don't know whether stable coins are this generation's gold, but I'd be damn careful here with Binance and Tether. But I've already said that once.
I will say though, I think if they really want to screw with the market, the worst thing you could do for all of DeFi and for a lot of crypto in general is to ban Tether. Like, that would be big time black swan event if they wanted it to be.
Well, they just simply say they're not going to ban. They're just going to simply say U.S. citizens, if you do own stablecoin, you must own USDC. That is the endorsed stablecoin.
Yeah, if that's the case, then I'm not worried about it at all. And I mean, you can go on to Uniswap or any DEX and just transfer your Tether to USDC in a couple seconds, and you're good.
Yeah. Well, and, what I'd love to hear is that Sjord's buddies over there at Luna, their stable coin, they just go and make friends with the U.S. government ASAP.
Yeah, they should. Agree.
All right. I don't know what these guys do. Halo, somebody inform me. Why would I want to be participating in this chain?
Yeah, so this is another that I hadn't really looked into much before this week when I was doing some research. This is Holochain, and it's really just kind of an open source app framework where people can actually, it helps people create their own apps and helps with deployment on the blockchain, etc.
That's cool. Longer the channel, the bigger the run. It's a great looking breakout. I mean, this is after the fact, unfortunately. This is probably a really good analogy of taking advantage of that sort of 2018, 2019 shit market, getting yourself all ready to go, and then of course once this thing starts taking off through here, it's just payday, right? And you're just banging out doubles the whole damn way up. So, sure hope a lot of guys made a pile of money here. It sure looks like there was a bunch of money to be made. I guess what I would say is hopefully you guys can see the W's down in here. And I might argue just based off of this chart, if we think about what I was telling you guys about W's on the other sides of trend lines, where's the W? There was a little one there, but no, not ready yet. There's a better W there. Looks like that one held in. There's another W there, and then of course we got the big weekly W. Boom, breakout there. Because this is so steep, you could have also, like I showed off of that other coin earlier, you could have drawn a trend line like that. And said, all right, well, we broke through here, but this is all open air. I'm going to need a bit more structure to work with. So here you can see 1, 2, into here, 3, all right, back, 4, 5, breakout. Oh, hello. Look at that frickin' W right there. Look at that beautiful thing. I mean, that's what I need for you guys to learn. Right there. That's about as good as it gets. Right there. So, actually there was a guy we had in our education program last cycle, Nick. And Nick had a funny screen name, Ron Damon. And for some reason, I associated that porno guy, Ron Jeremy, with his screen name, and it made him laugh. So we were working together. He was the one who actually really liked this trendline setup, this trendline breakout setup, and he's like, why don't you teach it on the site and stuff? And I was like, I haven't used trendlines in years. So he got me around, and we put the setup together. We called it the Ron Jeremy, and then then we had a really polite, really nice lady from the UK who really liked trading trendlines, and she really disliked that reference. So I changed the setup's name to her initials. Then I ran into her a year or two later, and she's like, oh, yeah, I don't trade that setup anymore. And I'm like, okay, fine. It's going back to being Ron Jeremy then. So, I mean, the reason why I give all of these things these crazy names and stuff is it's to try and help you remember this stuff. The reason why I call the 61.8 fib Mountain Man level, nobody's going to remember 61.8 if I just say, brand new person to trading, you got to memorize 61.8 fibs, and you have to take trade off of that, right? But people do remember silly little things like Mountain Man and a big M on the screen off that level. So that's sort of the same thing. I mean, trendline breakout systems, I've shown you guys now, even in these videos, at least a dozen, where you got to wait for the W on the other side of the trendline break, and when it comes in, oh my God, it's just pure money. So please learn this. And if you want a fun way to try and remember it, we like to call it the Ron Jeremy. So there you go. Nick, that one goes out for you. And I miss you, Nick. Nick, I think, was in Thailand. So I don't know whether I did see Nick actually made reference to a video that he saw recently. So if you do watch this, Nick, Julian's in Thailand, man. You should totally hook up with him. I'm not quite sure why you haven't. Anyway. So, what do you do with this thing now? Ironically enough, it's actually the same story that you can just see. It's just making lower highs and lower lows. Very, very steep. So that one's busted. If anything, I don't mind when they make really, really steep trend lines, because what it means is that this trend line's probably obsolete. And so you can see we just sort of move our way down the curve here. And what you're really looking for is that W on the other side of trend line. So interesting how, we came up here once, twice, 3 times, flirted, failed, came up above. Look at that bottom. Nope, no W yet. And it still really hasn't come in. If anything, it might even at this point start going, well, maybe we got to work with something like that. So can we get a W over here? If it can, the W, it's got the green light. This is all open air up here now. I suppose that, we have location. We are at or below reload zone, so we can definitely think about being buyers. I don't know whether, fundamentally I really understand the story, but I get the impression the boys kind of like the story. I guess you could also make the argument that that's a Wyckoff check in there. So it didn't quite tag those levels. Maybe it still needs to. Tough to say. But honestly, like a nice W that comes in down here, it's not a bad risk to take. Divergence and momentum. I would say right now, and especially with the way volume looks, it looks to me like somebody is just waiting. And not somebody, everybody is just waiting. I mean, who's going to blink? Somebody say something. Do something. Somebody come out and say, well, we are doing this project. Rock and roll. As it stands right now, nobody's saying or doing anything, and so as a result, this is drifting. And the dangerous part about drift, right, is that you can see that we started to W, but if you keep drifting a while, that momentum's going to wane, and you can see it where that momentum's already starting to wane. You can only drift for so long, and then people are going to start getting impatient and go, this thing's dead, get me the fuck out of here. So we want to see something from you, Mr. Halos. Do something. Say something. Somebody come alive and take over, right? Nobody. In fact, you could make the argument nobody's driving the bus right now. Does that make sense, Nick? That volume impetus kind of idea?
Absolutely.
Nobody's driving the bus. I mean, it's on autopilot. It might fall right off a cliff here. So be careful. All right. So I would say good location. Now give me a reason to be a buyer, both FA and or TA wise. All right, Derek says, interesting FA. What's that say? Slightly different tech.
Yeah, when I was reading, it has a distributed hash table as opposed to a blockchain. So it's kind of like they were describing it as sort of every app gets its own blockchain sort of thing. And I guess maybe the consensus is on to one main hash. I don't know, but it seemed like it was faster than the blockchain, but it's a little bit different. So that might have some value, and it's super cheap right now, so even less than a penny. I mean, the whole
I like being a cheap ass.
that whole 50% rule. If it can trade back up there, I mean, you can get off, several 100%. So
like we have our 300% challenge, right? 6 trades, right? So here's one. What is it? It's a half a penny. I mean, technically, what is 3x on your money? Well, I mean, gee whiz. If it could get up to a nickel, well, I guess that's all the way up here. But that's 10x way up there. But just to get like a risk-free trade, that's probably a 38.2 just to there. And 3x, just up into these wicks. Remember I said earlier, wicks and tails like to be eaten? That's probably actually a nice little 50% tag of that range there. 38.2 is 148. That's almost a triple from where we are, and that's just to the 38.2. Yeah, you're right. Good point. It's cheap. All right, so Nick says, neat protocol, want to learn more. Oh, that's cool. So we got perked your interest. Ben says, for fuck's sakes, get out of my face. What? No, what does he say here? Not interested at the moment. Not sure where to buy. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know if it's available in the US.
And then, of course, we got this situation. All right. Are any of us even allowed to look at this damn thing? I mean,
I just don't want to get my hopes up and get too excited about it.
Yeah, if anything, I like your thinking. That's smart.
I mean, it is on, I think...
Could you DeFi this thing?
I think it's on Uniswap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe when
checking real
fees come down.
quick.
Okay. Hello, breakfast. We're right in the middle of a show right now. When we're done, I'll be more than happy to come in and chat with you. And of course, Joshua Sharktoshi. Thanks for the words of yummy. Yeah, okay. Somebody actually went and counted just from the beginning of the year. 49 doubles, 8 quadruples, and 4 octuples.
I like the octo ooples.
Octo ooples. I don't know what
Yeah,
the hell that
I like
is.
it. Yeah.
I can't read. Man, we got off some big wins here this past spring. Sure was a lot of fun, man.
That's about one a day, it seems almost.
Well, geez, I mean, in the 16-17 crypto market, our record was my record was 13 doubles in one day. So
wow.
and we had guys like you've heard me talk to Innie on the Broiler Chicken show. None of you guys even know Innie, but we used to have an expression on the site that we all aspire to be Innie big. And I think one day, Innie, I think he got off like 35 doubles in one day.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Hell, I remember we had one coin. It was one of the pot coins. And it was reorged. And one guy on the site, it was Cann, C-A-N-N. And it was reorged. And literally, he had gone ahead, and back then you could. He had gone ahead, like, say it was like this thing here. And, let's say it was like here. He had gone ahead and he actually placed all his sell half on a double orders. He had like 10 of them lined up on this coin. And, just in one day, they reorged the coin. And, of course, they didn't expect us to do this. And Trex, man, they shit on us afterward. But literally, when they reorged the coin opened up here. And it went straight down, right back down to where it closed at. But because it opened up here, he got all of his fills all up here. It's like 10 different fills all right up at the day high where it opened up.
That's
Talk
awesome.
about a fucking home run. And that was just one coin, one day, I mean, that's how crazy it was that last cycle. I mean, it was just nuts. So, anyway. All right, moving on. Have we come to a consensus on this hot? Hot? I think that's where we were, right? Hot? Yeah. Yeah, Ben said go to hell. Yeah, okay.
Like usual.
All right, 2 more names and then we'll call it a night. Hope you guys are enjoying the edutainment out there in interneting land. Next name. Oh, actually, I better turn this off. Next name is ZIL. This is another one. I remember this was like all the Z coins. There was like about 3 or 4 of them that were all sort of kind of somewhat attached. Okay, so ZIL. What's the skinny here, boys?
Yeah, so this is Zilica. It's an Asian project. They claim to be. So the thing about this, I guess, is speed of. So it's a smart contract platform.
Mm-hmm.
And they claim to be able to do, smart contracts at speed. I think the transactions per second is like it's above 1,000. So I think it's around 5,000, something like that. But other than that, it's kind of. I guess it's another play like on Ethereum, another Ethereum competitor. I didn't see much of a differentiator other than that. Other than saying they were faster and they're still competing in smart contract. Arena or whatever. So
does this have any of the kind of
supposed to be proof of work? I didn't look at see what the token metrics are. I don't know what they are.
If it's proof of work, technically you could just go and mine it, right? You don't necessarily have to buy it off of the exchange or anything.
Yeah, but the weird thing is, 'cause I was interested in it last year I was interested in it, and the whole mining process was kind of funky. Like I tried to get it set up and I couldn't get it to work. So, maybe it's improved since then, but I think back when I tried it, it didn't work out for me, and I kind of gave up on it. But so
maybe you could join a mining pool. That might be interesting. All right. I hate to say it, but actually we were talking about fractals earlier. This is a pretty good example of, can you guys kind of see how It almost looks like that corresponds with that. This is the head. This is sort of the neckline. It's kind of sloppy. Can you see that head and shoulders? It's messy. I'm not going to say it's pretty. Which means that, you know, sort of like this corresponds with this, which means this probably corresponds with this, which means this probably corresponds with something down the road, like maybe down here. Kind of idea, right? And it just keeps going on and on and on until this whole fractal plays itself out. Which unfortunately, you know, you can see we're down into this kind of stabby area. See all these lows? And so that's why this sort of reverse there came down, stabbed into there, reverse there. So you can see this is clearly an important level for whatever the story was. And of course, always 78.6. What a surprise. The only problem with this is you can see Ben sitting down here, right? And Ben's like, well, you know, you can be a chump and pay up here, but I'm just going to sit down here and just kick back and relax. There's not really any hurry here. And that's also an 88.6. And also, interesting too, how this actually is a very, very significant sort of support line long term. So, unless I actually saw this thing actually Wing out, and momentum was Wing out and we were rocking and rolling, I would be like, well, why wouldn't I have my order right there and just be patient? There's really no hurry. So that's what I kind of see here. You know, do we have any signs of actual bottom? You know, obviously I'd like to see signs of things like divergence and momentum. Looking at momentum itself, and actually, this would be curious. I mean, do we have any confirmed? Nick, you just did this, and Derek, you can you probably, hopefully, remember this from last term. But do you see any structure that we could use to actually say, yes, this is a confirmed bullish divergence here? Either Nick or Derek or Ben, if you know, feel free to chime in. Or how about any of you on YouTube?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's just not there. It would have to, you know, we have to see structure in this thing, right? And if we're bulls, right, that means we got to see a W. I see it down, I see it up, I see down, I see up. Well, that's not enough. You know, if this was really a confirmed bullish divergence, this would be up through the top here. But it's just not there. Looks like there was a bit of a bear failure in here in momentum. That's been busted. So I would just simply say the jury's out. It's not really overly bearish or bullish. It's just sort of bleh. And, you know, remember when we're risking our money in the marketplace, we want to have, like, compelling reasons. So there just is no compelling bullish message from momentum here to get me really excited. It's just sort of like, well, there it is. I suppose if we start doing things like trend lines, we got this fast little trend line off the top there. Hopefully you can see that. So, you know, as we said all along here tonight, this thing really won't be a bull until we W out over here. Probably have like little ones coming in here, maybe something along those lines. Boom, boom, boom. So, you know, if we get a W in here, the only problem is we're probably just going to bang right up against this trend line and stop, which is just going to be a revisit of these highs. So, what do you think the odds are that, what fib is it that we're probably going to ask ourselves whether we are still a bull or a bear on its resolution? Ben!
38.2.
Excellent, good. Oh, look at that. See, you can almost kind of see the future here. So you can see 38.2, that downtrend line. Do we W out here? Maybe produces a rally, something like that. All right, and against that high, wicks and tails like to be eaten. Candle body highs for trade location. So you can see there's going to be a brick wall of resistance up here around this 13, 14 area. So, actually we were looking at a name like this earlier, right? Didn't somebody say that it's super cheap and, maybe I can get like a double or a triple off and get some free coins? That's probably the similar situation here. It's just I don't see the internals. The internals don't tell me that this thing's actually very strong. Even look at the bull volume, right? This just keeps making lower highs and lower highs. And see that? So there's no internal message here that, holy shit, this thing's super strong. So, not a terrible trade location, but that's about it. I don't really have anything else to work with. Which, it's better than what we've seen, like 3 or 4 months ago. I had to sit here and go, oh, fuck, this is horrible. There's nothing I can do here. So at least now we can say good trade location. Now, kind of like what we said here. Actually, I'm going to pull a Ben here. And I'm just going to go copy and paste. Yeah, that makes my job easy. All right, Derek's just going to go, not interested. Okay. No strong opinion, need to learn more. All right. And then might try and get a nibble fill on the Wyckoff check. Cool. Now he's talking like a gnarly trader, that Ben guy. That means, though, that you're actually looking for this to still come down a chunk. Hey, that's like 50% lower. So this thing could still fall a bit there, right? So, yeah. Okay, cool.
I got a quick question.
All right, fire
Would
away.
you also say that 38.2 is there a confluence with that whole 50? I guess the trade back up to 50%. That 50 line on your
There's the
of
50%
the whole
level
range.
there. Maybe rephrase the question. What is the question specifically?
That first fib that you have is of the total range, right? Is that from
Going up or down?
down? So 0 at your top point right there.
There, down?
Right. So that 50%.
Yeah.
Is that I was saying? Is it good that there's confluence with that 38.2 right there? Is that something that you take into consideration as well, or?
I don't usually look sort of backwards like that and ask.
Okay.
What I would simply say is, here's our reload zone down here. And ideally, first thing I would say is, if I was wanting to be short and I wanted to cover that short, I would want to be taking profits on this event. Right? Tag of the 50% rule. Like, let's say, you see how this is a cute little double top up here? So, in fact, actually, I think it was the gold market this morning, day trading. We saw exactly the same thing develop. So, do you see how this is a double top, up, down, up, fail? So, that actually is an outright shorting level. And the double top, right? I mean, can you guys see that? Maybe you can't. Can you see the double top up here?
Yes. Yep.
Right, so if I was short and I wanted to take profits, there's 50% rule. And really all this is just coming back against these lows, right? So 2.19, is that a number that we kind of like for you guys to be hunting for a trade setup?
At least a 2.
Yeah, so my hunch is actually this was probably a manufactured trade. It looks a little just too pretty, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the trade. And on this big dump candle, that's where these guys were ringing the register. Does that make sense? Derek?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So that trade's now done. So in a weird sort of way, here's our reload zone. We ideally want to be thinking about being buyers in here. And ironically enough, what did we say? Wicks and tails like to be eaten. We also said, candle body lows for trade location. So you can kind of see that there's an interesting level developing right here, and lo and behold, hey, look what's going on here. You see that? So if anything, this is what has my attention right here. There's a war here definitely going on, especially that fail. You can kind of see too. Can you see how this is like a head and shoulders in here? So there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, to there. See that? So this is a very big war level here, no doubt about it. So I don't know whether, does that answer your question? I guess the very simple answer is 50% levels critical on the way down. Once we've hit that, now I'm thinking, okay, where's reload zones? And now what I'm thinking is, okay, it would make sense also to think of this. And yes, I know I'm talking too much. Notice how we put in this big structural fail here. Do you notice how that's off of that level? You know, it's pretty close. See that? We could probably go back over time, and this is exactly like what we say, you know, the horizontal support and resistance in a level 2 program, where my hunch is actually this level, it probably came into play a lot. Now, I don't know whether, yeah, obviously back in time it doesn't mean anything, but here you can see it was important. And probably if we change that to a candle, we even see even more. Yeah, so you can see this was hugely significant. Then lost it, then came right back to it, then captured it, then came back and it was support. Big up, then right back down to it. Do we want to lose it? Nope, we're still support. Then boom through it. Notice the rally peak was back to it. So there is some hugely significant horizontal support and resistance level in here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does it directly correlate with the 50% rule? And I would be thinking, well, that's the reason why. I don't know, maybe. But I would say, though, is seeing how much traffic there is through this level, the definite support off of this level, and then the loss of it, and then the battle on the other side, there is a huge battle at this level as well. There's a lot of wars going on this chart. That's kind of cool. I don't know whether, does that, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that answers it. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. And I mean, this is interesting because technically we've already W'd here, right? So if anything, this is a really good testament. Let's, who are we going to pick on this time? What do we call this level right here? Right underneath this low right here. What do we call that level? There's so many names for all these damn things, eh? It's terrible. What do we call that level right there? And notice, oh, ouch. Do you think that's an accident?
I mean, that would be essentially where people are getting stopped out.
Yeah, okay, so
I don't know what it's called, but
you're on the right track.
Like a liquidity zone or something?
Okay, I mean, I remember I have funny little names for all this shit, right? So that might be like a MIT textbook name, a liquidity zone with a oscillation, you know, as Kirag goes, right? The McKinley oscillator, was it? No, the McKinley dynamic. if we ever want a fancy name for something, we haven't got a fucking clue what we're saying, we'll say, it's the McKinley dynamic. It solves the problems. So you're right. It is a liquidity zone. It is a liquidity trap. But Ben, I asked you the question originally. Any idea what we call that? No? All right. Anyway, well, he turned the camera off. He's like, screw it.
I don't know.
Not only am I,
idea.
I'm out of here. Fuck this. Anyway, we call this the noob stop. Why? Because most noobs will place their stop loss order right below this low. And that, my friends, is a trap. And you can see it. They just totally screwed the noobs right there. Hard. And I would imagine somebody was pressing this, and then all they wanted to do was see if they could trip up that low and see if they could set off a cascade of stop loss orders. They tripped the level up. There wasn't that many stops. Once that liquidity was done, it snaps right back up. I mean, it happens a lot in this game. So, our rule, of course, is if you're going to trade a double bottom, you have to have your stop below the lowest low. Because if you have your stop, like I said, below this second, like the right-hand side of the W, a lot of times this low will be washed, and then the market will just turn right back up and take off, and you're like, "Ah, son of a bitch." So I don't know whether you've have you ever heard me talk about that on the site before, Ben?
No, that's the first time. I mean, unless you did, and it went over my head. But
All right.
I just got it then.
Well,
it's good
hopefully, hopefully, some people on YouTube maybe got some something new that they've never heard before. So anyway, really good example of a noob stop run there. So actually, I think that's what happened there. And now it would be so cliche if this thing just turned right back up and started to ratchet higher here. And now you can tell me, do we have one more name to do here? I think we do, don't we?
Yeah, one more.
Okay. All right. Well, why don't we leave it at that? We've talked him into the ground. All right. CHZ, or I suppose for you guys in the States, CHZ.
Yeah, so Chiliz is one that's really interesting to me. They're kind of a sports fan token. Kind of like, I mean, technically I think they're fungible tokens, but they kind of fit in the NFT sort of realm, I think, with some of their use cases. They have partnerships with a lot of football, soccer clubs where you can get on a social platform that they have, socios.com, and buy a bunch of fan tokens, kind of get all the hooligans together. And so I think it's a really interesting kind of app and platform they've built out. I think they have a partnership with the UFC too. And I think just last week they partnered with, I think, the Boston Celtics to bring out something on the Socios platform as well. So maybe they're getting into basketball too now.
That's cool. So this is actually, we've been talking lots about this. I think that this is the next evolutionary step in all of this DeFi, is all these NFTs and making like all the music in the world, right, become an NFT. And actually, what I've heard people say, which is so frustrating, but the people that own all the rights to this music and stuff, what they're actually doing now is they're saying, you're no longer going to be able to buy the song like you used to, like buy it on Apple iTunes, or you buy the album, or you buy the cassette tape. I'd be interesting. Any of the three of you have any cassette tapes lying around?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
you do? Okay, cool. All right. How about 8-tracks? You guys remember 8-tracks?
That was just before my time.
All right. Anyway, I really like the idea of like, I don't know whether I like the idea, but I think what's going to happen is you're no longer going to buy music. You are just going to rent it. And I think that the NFT space is the way that they're going to monetize that. So interesting. So these guys are along that road, and I would argue probably, sports figures, especially the way, like you could think about it. Michael Irving, I don't know whether you guys know who he is. He was a famous wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys.
I was on a plane with him a couple of years ago.
Oh, really? Oh, interesting. And he's a rather lively gentleman. Actually, it might be interesting I don't know whether he was sober or not, but if you had actually a conversation with him or not. But he's animated, trust me. He's an animated guy. And was he on the airplane?
No, we had like a 5 a.m. flight the morning after like a Sunday night football game that he was casting.
Okay.
So he was pretty quiet, but
Fair enough.
yeah,
Anyway,
hard
he's a
to not
character.
notice him.
Yeah, he's a character anyway. And just the point that I would make was that he and he repeatedly referenced he never owned his jersey or anything that he did at the Dallas Cowboys. That was all exclusively the property of Jerry Jones. And Jerry milked the fucking shit out of him. And Mr. Irving, of course, was a bit salty, we'll say. But this is business in this world. And I got a funny feeling that these music artists, they're going to be, that they might even be put into this sort of perpetual slavery where they get the music actually sort of produced, but the producers actually own the music and they just rent it, lease it out indefinitely. So I don't know whether we go down this road. I hope not, and I hope artists themselves don't get euchred into this and they can somehow produce their own music and do their own NFTs and stuff like that. But I definitely see that this is coming 100 miles an hour. All right, so having said that, CHZ, you call this Chiliz? Is that what you call this?
I call it Chiliz.
All right, and where do we want to be looking at this?
There are a lot of places now. So the Coinbase chart's going to be really recent. So I wouldn't look there.
I mean, just not that much data?
Yeah, I think it
There
was,
you
yeah.
go. Hey, that's a buy. That's a sell. That's a buy. That's a sell.
It went a lot higher than that.
And
pretty
you know,
sure.
that's the sad part about this space. I really don't like how they do this, but you know, I suppose that's half of capitalism for you. Is they don't really give you like full charts, so you can get really a good idea of the whole history. But I did see Binance, so probably there's a Tether sort of proxy there. That says Chiliz. Is that the same thing? So there we go. At least you got a half decent price chart. Okay. You know, I mean, this is the interesting thing about these names. I get a little bit leery when we sort of bottom in open space like this. But you can see, you know, it'd be interesting if there was some sort of like metric or algorithm or something for the value of this at this level in here. Obviously, you know, of course, there's good old 78.6. I would have thought we would have actually bottomed against this 88.6 level here. So it's a bit surprising that just out of nowhere we put in these lows here. So it might be interesting, maybe versus Bitcoin or something, that actually is some sort of key support level. That also might have been like the day of Coinbase IPO or listings or whatever the hell they call them these days. So maybe that's a big injection of buying power or something came into the market there. So, you know, as we sort of have been illustrating all night here, I think you can make the argument that you're not going to get really a trending breakout. My God, this thing's going to make me stinking rich tomorrow. Signal until we start Wing on the other side of this trend line. So, I don't know, that might be quite a ways away. You might even argue that, you know, from what I understand listening to you guys, that a lot of sort of the initial enthusiasm in this name might have actually been priced into this, and now it's actually going through the digestion process. What value is this thing actually worth? Tough to say. I suppose in the short term, I'm gonna make it pretty simple. It looks like that's somewhat the top end of the range, right up in those areas, and also too, remember, kind of like Derek, remember saying that before, you can kind of look and see the underside of this. So in a weird sort of way, can you see how this is like a flip zone? You know, when Kiran talks about the flip zones in the futures markets. So you can kind of see how this is sort of like, I'm a happy bull, and now we flipped over, and now I'm an unhappy bear. Can you see how we're sort of, and interestingly enough, if we do this on a log scale, I bet you these are almost exactly the same size. Let's see what happens. Yep, look at that. Almost identical. So I think you could actually make the argument that all this really is just a replication of this range down below here. Does that make sense? Hopefully.
Yes. Yep.
So momentum-wise, if anything, this trend line to me looks most important. All right, you can even see that tag there. So we are getting WE type action on the other side of this. Maybe you want to just, you know, because this is kind of, you know, I mean, gee whiz, there's all that. I mean, this is where the key support is. Look at all those lows in there, right? I'm leery about how this is just out in open air like this. That's usually a bit suspicious. Probably the way I would look at this right now is this is basically a trading range. So, wicks and tails like to be eaten. Candle body highs for trade location. That's probably a fantastic shorting window right up in that area there. Like if you're long this, I mean, you can see that looks like a narrow sideways channel to me, right? There's the top of the channel. There's the bottom. So you want to basically buy this breakout and risk to a break maybe of that low right there. That's not a bad risk window. Something along, maybe even just something like that, and risk to a close. I don't know. You might draw up trend line off of these lows and just say, look at if we close below that trend line and then maybe give me any kind of market signal, I'll just walk away from this thing. Looking for stab back up into these highs up here. 4-to-1 risk reward, that's not terrible. My hunch is too, that's probably also a reload zone up there. So yeah, so basically, I mean, I don't really like using 78.6 as a profit objective. I would much rather you keep the profit objectives relatively conservative. 50% here is actually a tag of the trend line. What does that say? 2.5 risk reward. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. But this is a trading range. We don't really know whether the bottom's actually in here. You're taking a bit of a shot. And on the idea that we rally up into the top end of the range, I think you probably want to lighten up a bit. Also, too, you can see that this is kind of a trade that produces one of these natural doubles. So this could very easily be one of these manufactured trades where they put a bottom in here, they crank it up into that area, sell half on a double, and now they got themselves some free assets. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what's going on here too. So that's probably the way I'd look at it. It's not a terrible idea. I mean, a trader's got a trade. That's probably the best looking trade that we've actually seen develop here, where actually the trade is trying to fire. You could actually make the argument this is, what did we call this 3-bar pattern again? I can't remember. Something right here. Anyone? Work with me? Somebody? Anybody?
Go, Ben, go.
Well, we don't need Van Gogh, but if he wants to...
I said go, Ben, go.
Oh, okay. It's a 3-bar fractal. Boom, boom, boom. So you want to just let the 3-bar fractal fire and even just risk that 3-bar fractal, kind of like what I did on Litecoin trade there the other day. That's fine. That would really tighten up your risk. But understand, if you're going to take these kind of small risks, you might get stopped out 2 or 3 times as you're sort of, trying to catch that knife on your huge monster potential move up top. But, I mean, it's not a bad level. Ironically enough, this is actually the only chart I think that we've looked at tonight that I think I could actually say, this actually doesn't look... Yeah, look at that. So Kavarkanator would actually have his... So Nick, you've heard Kevin talk about his confirmed MACD bullish divergences.
Yep. Kevin is big on the MACD.
And rightly so. If anything, I should be bigger. And it's great working with these professionals that are religious, because it keeps you out of a lot of trouble if you insist there must be a MACD bullish divergence in here. So that helps. Also, too, gee whiz, look at this beautiful OBV surge here. So here's a good example where the bulls actually appear to be relatively more awake than the bears, eh? The only thing I don't like is I don't like to see that they're trailing off here. So, I'd like to see, come on, bulls, step up here, bust this RSI out through the channel. This is a good example of Sjord's compression of the range. Can you see how the RSI bands are tightening up here? So there's more sort of anecdotal evidence of a half-decent market here. As I said there earlier, of all the names that we've looked at, this is the only one that I would say actually, that's actually setting up a trade I could take. So there you go. I wonder if these guys are traded on Trex. Not bad. Actually, ironically enough, I'm going to say the only name I could justify buying through show. What say it was about a 3-to-1 risk reward there. Simple.
Looks like they're not on Trex.
Jerks. Figures. All right. So let's see. What did Derek? He says interested FA fuel for a sports token platform. I do like that idea. Right. Show me use case scenario where this stuff's actually used for something. It might sit on Johnny's little cell phone and never get used, but if there's 100,000 fans of a soccer club, they could probably find a home for tokens that have their favorite football star's face all over them.
Yeah, you know how rabid sports fans can get.
Oh, I know, nuts, right? Especially if they win championships and shit like that. Then the NFTs themselves, they might actually get into bidding wars for those individual identified NFTs. So that could become really big. Like I said, Mr. Irving, I'm sure he's going to have an NFT with his name on it one day. All right. Really like the use case between this and AMP for Star of the Week. Interesting. So you like that AMP as well, eh? And so Ben says, interesting story. We'll be patient for the chart to develop some more. Cool. All right. Well, what I'm hearing, I think the winner this week is our Chiliz. What do you think, guys? Chiliz is the winner with AMP as a close runner-up.
I like Chiliz a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Chiliz as well.
What do you think, Ben?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with
Why
that.
don't we we'll give a green to Chiliz as our favorite, and then we'll give a teal for AMP as sort of our close runner-up this week. I kind of like that. That'd be kind of fun. Okay. Holy shit, Brian talks too much. How did an extra 40 minutes? Sorry, guys.
I know we got through the first 6 coins in like an hour and a half, and I was like, "This is going well." And then
Stall.
yeah, but like a couple of them, like on that Zilliqa chart, you gave like a really good just chart case study throughout time, so I was really enjoying it.
Okay.
I think I derailed you with the question, but
You did, but it was
I
really
appreciate
good.
it.
Yeah, it was really good.
Good. Well, did we have fun tonight?
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent.
Always.
What do you think, Ben?
For sure.
You
Yeah.
gonna stick around for a little
Good
longer?
value. Yeah.
I like getting down to
Yeah.
these as well because they're starting to get into ones where I actually have to research what they are because I'm not certain. So
Okay.
I'm learning a lot more as we go further down.
Excellent. Good. All right. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed the frivolity over there on YouTube. Feel free to smash the like button. How does it go? Somebody know how the phrase goes? Nick, you'd be good at this stuff. What are we supposed to say here?
You could say whatever you want. Destroy it. Lightly tap the like button. Do whatever mood you're in.
Okay.
Pound the table of the like button.
Pound the table. You gotta buy like buttons. I'm going long like button futures. All right. Have yourselves a great afternoon, evening, wherever you are with the world. Thank you very much, boys. As Nick said there, I think this is turning into a very educational experience. So not only are you getting some fun edutainment out there in internet land, but I think I'm actually learning a little bit more and more about the space and who the players are this go round. And also, too, I'm getting to know a few of the site members here. And hopefully maybe even building some lasting relationships here with you guys. So super stoked. So thank you so much. Who took us out last week? I'm feeling like Ben. All right. So Nick, I think Nick, it's your turn. I got a feeling New Mexican.
We're going on round 2. Okay.
And I don't know. I mean, Derek, did we do? Whose turn is it? Are you guys keeping track? Is anybody keeping track? Somebody's
Well, I
gonna
think
take us out.
so. The last 3 weeks went Derek, me, Ben.
Okay. Derek,
Right.
me, Ben. So that means it's Derek this week. Haha. Hot seat. Way to go, Derek. You just volunteered.
All right.
All right, so, if you did enjoy the offering, actually, now we have 2 different ways. We're going to try and get our butts over there on, the Theta platform, right? So, Derek's actually volunteered. He's going to work away on that, right? Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
We'll actually look forward. Maybe next week we might have an update on that. That would be kind of cool. If you did enjoy the offering and you were kind of like, hey, I learned something, and you want to give a bit of karma back, we have included a nice Ethereum wallet address. Somebody did donate to the wallet address already, so thank you very much. You know who you are. And the proceeds from that I would like to use to get a booth for TRI in Decentraland. So if you enjoyed the offering and you got some value out of it, we'd love your support in that regard. But, really this is more edutainment. We're just having fun. And of course, like I said, I'm really getting to know some TRI site members, so it makes me super happy both ways. So I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for an awesome experience once again. Derek has got the ball this evening, so I think the only thing left for TRI to say at this point is a big
Bye for now.